All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. We are back. I feel like we was just here. I feel like we were just here. Feels like we were just here. But we are back. It's a new week, new day, new things happening in the world, and a new show tonight. I think we're going to have a good one. I can't wait to get this one started. We're going to have some people joining us. Y'all know how we do, child. People be working on this channel. So they come from one platform and they come over here and they give their perspective. So we'll definitely have some patience and some grace for them. I believe Hank is going to be joining us, maybe Kenneth. And tonight we're actually going to do a call-in show. So we'll have some people from the chat also come and call in, so you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to hit a link. You can just literally dial a number and you'll be on the show. Before we start everything, you guys know that the show is sponsored by creativehosting.com. So if you need a website and you need someone to host it, definitely check them out. There is a code of HCM22 for your discount to have your website hosted with creativehosting.com. Definitely hit that like button, share the live, subscribe to the channel. Before we get started, how is my co-host, the actual King Smith, doing? How are you today, sir?
We try to get off this mute button. I'm doing all right. I'm doing fantastic. All right. Let me tell y'all, I am happy to be here today. I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I always appreciate you dedicating your time. And Mr. Sean Bolden, how are you this evening, sir?
Hey, I am doing well. How are you? Thank you for having me. King salute as well. And I am blessed to be here as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Now, I do see some people in the chat, so we're going to get to them as well before we get into this first topic, because the first one, we're just going to dive right in there on the first one. Dorian, thank you so much for being here. Dorian says, hello, precious panel and chat. Like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy this show. Thank you, beautiful, for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peter says, this cool side of the show.
This is the cool side of the show. Pull up.
That part. Okay, Peter. If you like to call in, you can definitely do that. I'll drop the number after the first topic, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to want to tap. And Elosophical, thank you so much for being here. You got the popcorn ready, child. Tarika, thank you for being here. Even everyone, please hit that like button as you come in. Yes, please hit the like button. It is free 99. Just hit that like button. It helps the algorithm and it pushes the live out to those who may not know that I'm here. So thank you in advance for doing that. I really appreciate you guys. Quincy, I appreciate you for being here. Q, he says, good evening, good people. Darnell, I appreciate you for being here. Jason, I see you in the chat. Great evening to you as well. Kasim said he pulling up. Pull up, like Rihanna said, pull up. Okay, we're going to give you guys a chance to pull up. It's going to be a call-in show, so definitely dial in. It'll be our pleasure to have your perspective on the men's panel. While this is a men's panel, it does not mean that women are not allowed to chime in as well. So whether it be in the chat or if you like to use the number to chime in, definitely do so. We get understanding, perspective, and we can only do that if we hear both sides. So please do not be afraid to call in. The only thing I will not tolerate is disrespect, but I will always tolerate the conversation and be open to all perspectives. Jason Nelson says, thank you for giving us somewhere to be. Of course, definitely. I do not mind it. I enjoy this immensely. I've always been doing this, so it's nothing for me to definitely get up here and get some understanding and get some perspectives. I'm a team player. I've always been a team player. It's just part of my personality, part of just me, be it whether it was team or even a marching band. Okay, one band, one sound. I just grew up like that. Bruiser, thank you so much for being in the building. Thank you. Definitely hit the line if you want to chime in on the conversation this evening. We have a few topics that we're going to bring to you guys. So definitely keep your ears and eyes open. Again, share the live for those who may be interested in the topics that we speak about tonight. Quincy says, bless up the chat. Perry Productions, there will be a number that anyone can call in. Number will be posted shortly. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Marriage, politics, and sports. Hello to the chat. Mr. Payne, how are you this evening, sir?
Hello, hello. How you doing? How's the panel doing?
Hey, what up, our pain?
Good.
We're fresh out of the battle.
Fresh out of the. How did it go? How did it go?
It went all right, man. It's hard telling men that they have they're supposed to bring their women back from their abyss if she wants to be sexless. So we had a nice conversation.
Well, all right, all right. We got to go and check that out over on
BMU's network.
yeah,
Black Man No Filter.
Yes. And I have to, it's been a minute since I've connected with him, so we may have to do a collaboration.
Yeah, he was crazy enough to give me a couple of hours on Monday night. So
okay. Well, we're spreading the love. That's one thing I do appreciate with the people that I have met in this space. A lot of them don't mind sharing the love, don't mind sharing platforms, collaborating. So I do appreciate that. You guys can definitely check me out on a couple new scenes coming up. All right. Just stay tuned to the Instagram page and all that other good stuff. All right. All right, Sean, you're back. You're good.
Yep. What's going on? Payne, I was trying to say what's up and I hit the wrong button.
that's all right, man. How you doing, man? How you feel?
I'm doing well. I'm feeling well. Thank you. And yourself?
Man, I can't complain, Can't complain at all.
I know that's right. What We Know podcast. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, JT.
Again, I'm going to be dropping a number for the call-in show this evening. So if you guys are interested, definitely hit the line. Last show that I used it was a Lady Di and I on Wednesday night. And they were calling in and they definitely did a great job in giving their perspectives and giving us something else to think about. But to dive into this show, our first topic is a topic that a lot of people can relate to. And I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention because it's the men's panel. You guys give your perspective, and there was only one man involved in this situation. And so he has two women. He has one that is, I'm not quite sure. They use the word wife at one point, but I'm not quite sure it is his wife because they also use girlfriend. And then the other woman is the woman he had a child with, specifically a little girl with. So I want to play this video and I want to get you guys' thoughts on it. Chime in the chat as well.
Don't condone, and I told him that I don't want nobody putting their hands on my daughter but me because I'm the mother. So what makes you feel like you could do that?
Understood. First off, it was something mutual between me and the father because your daughter was being disrespectful.
She could, okay, this is my thing. My daughter's not disrespectful. And even if she was disrespectful, I told him to not let nobody, no bitch, excuse me, but really not excuse me, to put their hands on my daughter.
Okay, at the end of the day, your daughter's not disrespectful to you because you're her mother, and I guess the ways that she's learning, you're teaching her. However,
baby,
what
look,
I'm trying to tell you
it gotta be
that
something that you said to her for her to even feel
that it ain't
okay.
gonna be tolerated.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this: we can't talk together. We can sing together, but we can't talk together.
But what I'm telling you is valid, and I'm
okay. So why you let her put her hands on our daughter? Because you know, what you mean what I'm doing here? I'm checking your wife because she feel like she got authority to put her hands on my daughter.
Stop it right there, because first off, she was being disrespectful.
How was she being disrespectful?
I gave her permission.
Why didn't why didn't you discipline her? I'm not talking to you right now. Why didn't you discipline her? Because you the damn daddy.
Because I wasn't here.
Okay, well, next time, call me or something. Because I don't condone that. You need to speak to me. I'm the one that birthed her because this is my daughter. He is. But look, if he's not here to discipline her, then you need to wait. Because
you just could have called me.
I'm going to stop it right there for right now. But as you guys are watching, and you know, you don't have all the details right now, but as you're watching, who do you think is in the wrong?
Wow. It depends on what the arrangement was. If the mother and the father had a conversation that the discipline would only be by the mother and the father, and the wife didn't get permission, then perhaps the wife was in the wrong for putting hands on it without letting the father get there. But if the husband and the wife had an agreement outside of the mother, then the mother, then I blame it on the father at that point, because he should have had the mother part of that agreement so that everybody could have been on the same page. Because right now they are a blended family, whether they like it or not. And unfortunately, there's a lot of different circumstances that come with a blended family that have to be worked out individually. So it's hard to say who's right or wrong, but whoever didn't communicate well, I think is wrong.
The husband and wife are dead wrong. Dead wrong. He should have. First of all, you know, some people don't want you hitting their kids at all, but the mother is jealous and all that kind of stuff. But they're wrong, because if he didn't get that straight with the mother, then nobody should be laying hands on her kid, especially the new wife, the woman she hates already, right? So they're wrong. There's no two ways about it. They're absolutely wrong. Now, if the kid was unruly and going to hurt somebody or just yelling and screaming and being stupid, you tolerate it, tell your husband to come home and get his daughter or whatever. But you don't lay hands on another person's kid. You just don't. Not unless there's some kind of almost even a written agreement to do. So they're wrong. They're both wrong. The husband's a fool for telling his wife and not telling the mother of his kid what might happen. So the mother, even though she's belligerent and I couldn't take hearing her for another second, she's right.
Okay.
So I'm sharing my screen. If you're able to pop that up and make it like on the bigger part of the screen, when I was getting divorced legally, and y'all might not be able to see this. Damn. There's a section right here, disciplining the minor child. This was considered a standard agreement in Maryland regarding custody, where it says both parents agree regarding discipline the minor child. The parents of the minor child are the only people that could discipline the child unless the following situations occur where biological grandparents are in the care of the minor child in absence of one or both of the parents, or biological aunts and uncles are in care of the minor in absence of one or both parents. And then it finishes by saying, should either parent start a romantic relationship with another party, either parent will ensure that during their custody arrangement, the biological parent can discipline the minor child and no one else. All right. And then it ends by saying, should either parent remarry, the above agreement will stand. Now, I read that out for people that couldn't see that, but it's my understanding as I was in family court, I was listening to other parents or people that were getting divorced talking about custody, and that was the standard language in everybody's agreement. And I don't know if different states are different, right? Or if that family that you showed in the video ever went through family court to talk about this kind of stuff. So absent of some already agreement, I'm going to say that the biological mother was right to confront the her the new interest of the father or whatever. But yeah, there's a right and a wrong way to approach a situation, and in my opinion, she was wrong. The biological mother was wrong in the approach to doing it.
Okay. I would definitely agree with the approach. Good evening, Kenny. How are you this evening?
Good evening, y'all. Sorry for my tardiness, just getting in. I'm all right. How are y'all?
Right, all right, man.
Okay.
Doing well.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna continue on with this video. Kenny, it's a couple here, but the man had a child with the woman who was confronting both of them. He's now dating someone else and married, and we're not quite sure what it is. But but she's confronting his new woman for thinking their child.
You don't answer the phone. You don't answer the phone. And this is what I have to do to get through to y'all. If I gotta pull up and act the fool to get through to y'all because y'all wanna touch my child, this is what I'm gonna do.
It's my child too.
Okay, but if you aren't there in the vicinity,
you come in my house and try to act the fool.
But you can act the fool. You weren't here. So if you were not here, then how you gonna punish her? How you gonna do that? So that's not her right to do that.
I gave her permission to.
Though, and she's under my authority at the time. She should be listening.
Okay, I'm not saying she should not listen, but let me tell you something. This is my daughter. I don't want you touching her. That's point blank, period. And if she comes back to me,
coming over here because if she gonna be disrespectful and cross the line.
Okay, well, why you not being a daddy and checking her then and making sure that she's respecting her? Because you just told me that you weren't here when it happened. So if you're not here when it happened,
and tell you that daddy whooped me, because I do. If she's disrespectful in my house, she's going to get
told
punished.
me that daddy's new
No matter
girlfriend
who's
touched
in the
me.
house, if she's
That's what she told me.
Ain't nothing new about this.
Let me handle this.
Okay, look.
If she's
Please
under our
handle
guidance,
this. So I swear to God, you know how I get. And I'm already up here. It don't matter. This is my daughter, though. It's my daughter. And I ain't even really got to talk to you. We can definitely go there. Because I'm with that time, too. What? Listen to what?
under my roof, she's going to get punished if she's being
I'm not.
disrespectful.
Okay, look. I'm not saying she can't be punished, but she does not have to put her hands on my daughter. Call me and I will handle it. Or either teach her to be more respectful. Because she don't do that with me. So that says something. So that says something. Obviously you. Obviously you. Okay, but if she's disrespecting y'all, then what sense does that make?
What is you talking about?
Exactly, and she doesn't disrespect me. She disrespects y'all. So that says something about y'all's parenting. Baby, look, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not trying to come here with that shit. I'm really not. But you need to calm all that down. This ain't your child, though. But it's not your child. And all that shit that you with, I'm with it times 10. I'm with it times 10. I'm with it times 10. So calm that down.
Next time, if you're going to come here, call me.
I will call you. And make sure you answer the phone. Make sure you answer the phone.
You don't have to.
You can get it too.
Like I said, don't touch my child no more, okay? That's all I'm going to say. And y'all can have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rainy day. And how about your narrow ass answer the phone when I call next time? And I said what I said. Yeah, all right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I'm starting this off already. I don't even know what your question is. The answer is check her, and if she still wants to be a hyena and keep on talking like that, take my wife, my now wife, put her in the house, take 2 steps back, shut the door, and walk back in the house. She can knock all day if she wants to. At that point, I'm calling the cops.
Allegedly.
Okay.
I think they both was unruly at that point.
Mhm.
She talking about I put it on your daughter and I put it on you too. Come on, man. That's both of them out of line at this point. Now they're both in their emotions and they're both acting unruly, and he has no control and or no he's not able to handle either one of them, and he needs to really step up and be able to settle it and get them both under control, because they both were out of control, and that needs to be acknowledged and addressed.
I agree with you, Sean. He lacks control of his household. He shows that he doesn't have parameters set to appease both parties, because she wouldn't have been at that door. A woman only comes up to that door in 2 reasons: if she's completely irate, insane, fully toxic, or you're ignoring her as she stated. Why would you be ignoring her? He didn't deny it. I heard that part. And you shouldn't be hitting someone else's child. It's a touchy situation. I remember Cass used to talk about this. You're not responsible, and don't take this away. You're eating the cost of someone else's decisions. He said mistake, but I wouldn't say it like that. When you're taking on something like that, he should have had parameters set. That door should be closed. He should be able to have the one-on-one with his child's mother, because that's not acceptable. That means you lack control. You lack the ability to have fluid communication. Things are not amicable. You got your new woman wanting to jump out and crash out. And you know how those things go. We don't need world star moments. We're grown adults. We're flawed and human, but no, that's just a whole kerfuffle. I found a new word today. I'm going to use it tonight. Kerfuffle.
I like
Kerfuffle.
That's funny.
There you go.
Man, the guy's a complete loser, man. I swear. I mean, he was at the point of where you have to stand. I would have told my new girl, shut the fuck up. Excuse my language. Get in the house and I'll handle it. And I would tell the mother of my kid, don't come over my house like that at all. Don't ever do that again. And if he's not answering the phone, then he's complicit in getting her anxious. Right? Because she's trying to reach him and he's not answering because he knows. Everybody knows when you have a cell phone, you see who's calling. If you don't respond at all, they know you're just ignoring them. So listen, the guy, excuse my language. Anyway, but listen, the guys, I can't stand pathetic men. They make me mad. Forget about the women. The women do what women do. But you can't have these two hyenas yelling over you, trying to get at each other like they're trying. Was the daughter still around in the background listening to all of that?
She had to be somewhere at this point. I mean,
exactly. She had to be in the proximity of all of that.
Right.
So I'd have told my new girl, listen, you know what? I was wrong with letting you get permission without clearing with her first. But I can't have you over here, screaming and threatening each other while I'm trying to stand in the middle and you're both ignoring me. Man. First of all, I'll just land it there, man. I don't want to say anything. I mean, it's just aggravating. I mean, because he should.
Say.
Huh?
I said, say what you got.
All I'm just trying to say is he should have controlled the situation better. Let me calm down. And, he should have just controlled the situation. I'd have turned to my girl, the new one, and said, listen, you got to be quiet right now so I can handle this. Then I would turn back to the mother of my kids and say, listen, in the future, we're going to handle this differently, but you can't be coming over my house screaming and yelling. But I would have closed that door and I would have went on the outside and I told my girl, don't you come out here. I'm going to handle this. And if she would have defied me, then I had to reconsider whether she should be my girl or not.
Bingo.
Okay. So do you think he has the capacity to even have a conversation with both of them present? Like, do you think that there would be a time where, they're not as heightened in emotions and temperatures aren't, flaring, where he would be able to get them to sit down to have a conversation?
Well, that was the moment.
Oh,
that was the moment. That was the moment to say, listen, you know what? Maybe not right now, but we're going to calm down and we're going to have a conversation. And the mother says, listen, I don't care how we come to this. I don't want nobody else hitting my kid. You have to honor that. You have to honor that. And so that was the moment. Sometimes we miss the moment of when you could fix some things, and he missed it. That's how I see it. It's just pathetic.
It reminds me of I think it was Why Did I Get Married? I always reference this movie.
Yeah.
But Tasha and Tasha is his wife, and they have kids together, and then he has a woman that he has kids with, and they start to argue, and the guy gets in the middle and he stops it right then and there. Like you said, Arpane, now is the moment. And he pretty much tell one to go in the house, the other one to get in a car, and he takes a walk. So I think the consensus, everyone is pretty much saying, he is the common denominator. And if he can't get things under control, then, the future of the relationship with his new girl is just going, temperatures are just going to flare up because, like you said, Arpane, if the mother says, hey, you can't hit my child, then she gonna have to say the father gonna have to do all the physical discipline, if you will. I don't know. He's going to have to handle all of that.
I have to add also, I don't agree with dads hitting their daughters either.
Mm-hmm.
I never agree with that. I have 2 daughters, and I'll say real quick. One of the reasons why I didn't hit my girls is because I never wanted them to get used to the man they love putting their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
There's a question in the chat, Precious, that I think is real relevant from Jason Nelson on YouTube. Said, let me ask a question. So it's okay to totally nurture a step kid, but not discipline them. I am going to the discipline. Wow.
Well, discipline doesn't always have to be physical discipline. Discipline just means, I have a certain order, practice, and a certain way that I do things. So, whoopings and beatings don't necessarily mean that that's the way that you're disciplining them. So I believe that it's totally okay for a step parent to discipline a child. However, if you're going to have other parties involved, that should be a conversation. I think a lot of women, the mother had a right to feel the way that she felt. However, women also got to let go that the man moved on. Like it can't be about like nothing in you should reflect any type of, oh, well, you with him now. And no. It should strictly stay on the child. My daughter came home and she told me that you put your hands on her, you whipped her, or you used a belt on her. And I came over here to have a conversation with both of you in regards to her.
That's the right approach.
You don't have to get loud. You don't have to get ghetto. You don't. Now it's because he matched both of their energy, they felt as though it was okay to have this loud screaming match. They felt as though it was okay to disrespect even each other. Because now she said, oh, well, you here, you could get it and you could get it. And it's like, no, what, how did it come on, both of us fighting? Like, we're supposed to be working this out for the child, because obviously she's going to be in your presences and in your care. So I don't think a lot of, when, I don't know how old the child is, but when you don't go through certain things like this and it's your first time and you don't know necessarily how to handle the situation, then your emotions are going to get the best of you. Your emotions are going to make you think irrationally. Now, him, who knows how long he's been with this new woman, again, who knows how old his child is, or their child is, but at the same time, you have to you still have to be someone who has control over at least your household. You can't control the woman that you had a baby with anymore. You don't want to, y'all didn't get married, y'all didn't know. But what you can control is the parental situation of what's going on between you and her mother. You got to take all the personal feelings out of it when it comes to the relationship being older, and I think, or over. And I think that women probably do that more than men, but there are men who do it as well. Good evening, Hank. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm good. I can't complain. How about yourself, Miss Precious? Hopefully everybody else is on the panel as well.
Doing good.
What up, man?
Right on.
What up?
So we just had, and I believe, the telephone number is scrolling. So if anybody wants to call in on this topic and chime in, you're definitely more than welcome. I'm going to play the video again. I'm not going to play all the way through it, Hank, but you'll definitely get the gist of it when you see it. Have you seen any of it while you were waiting?
I haven't seen the video, so
Okay. Where is it?
That's just something I don't condone. And I told him that I don't want nobody putting their hands on my daughter but me, because I'm the mother. So what makes you feel like you could do that?
Understood. First off, it was something mutual between me and the father because your daughter was being disrespectful.
She could, okay, this is my thing. My daughter's not disrespectful. And even if she was disrespectful, I told him to not let nobody, no bitch, excuse me, but really not excuse me, to put their hands on my daughter.
Okay, at the end of the day, your daughter's not disrespectful to you because you're her mother, and I guess the ways that she's learning, you're teaching her. However,
baby,
what
look,
I'm trying to tell you
it gotta be
is that
something
in my
that you
house,
said
where
to
I
her
pay bills,
for her
where
to
I
even
stay,
feel.
that it ain't gonna be tolerated.
Okay.
That y'all
Well, I'm gonna
stay
say
in the
this:
child's
we
place.
can't talk together. We can
Oh,
sit
we
together, but we
sure
can't
can
talk
talk together,
together.
but what I'm telling you is valid, and I'm
Okay, so why you let her put her hands on our daughter? Because you know, what you mean what I'm doing here? I'm checking your wife because she feel like she got authority to put her hands on my daughter.
Let's stop it right there, because first off, she was being disrespectful.
How was she being disrespectful?
I gave her permission.
Why didn't why didn't you discipline her? I'm not talking to you right now. Why didn't you discipline her? Because you the damn daddy.
Because I wasn't here.
Okay, well, next time, call me or something. Because I don't condone that. You need to speak to me. I'm the one that birthed her. Because this is my daughter. He is. But look, if he's not here to discipline her, then you need to wait. Because it's
you just could have called me about this. You
don't answer the phone. You don't answer the phone. And this is what I have to do to get through to y'all. If I got to pull up and act the fool to get through to y'all because y'all want to touch my child, this is what I'm going to do.
It's my child too.
Okay, but if you aren't there in the
How you
vicinity.
gonna come in my house and try to act a fool?
But you can act a fool. You weren't here. So if you were not here, then how you going to punish her? How you going to do that? So that's not her right to do that.
I gave her permission to.
Though, and she's under my authority at the time. She should be listening.
Okay, I'm not saying she should not listen, but let me tell you something. This is my daughter. I don't want you touching her. That's point blank, period. And if she comes back to me,
coming over here because if she's gonna be disrespectful and cross the line.
Okay, well, why you not being?
I'm gonna stop it right there. Because I don't like how the stepmom or step parent or new girlfriend says, well, if she's gonna be coming over here, again, it's about the child. So, y'all gonna have to find a happy medium because it's not my way or the highway when you're sharing a child. So, Hank, what do you think?
That's kind of funny. I seen this video and I was going to reaction. Then I said, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. So happens that you had the video. We're going to talk about it now. So, Jesus Christ, Lord, you trying to say it? You trying to tell me something? We're going to talk about it, whether I want to or not. I don't know. It's a real thin line, personally. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of hard. Now, I assume the father has no problem with corporal punishment. Spanking the kid or nothing like that because he was okay with it, right? So I assume that was the case. Now, for the mother, the baby mama come over and act like that's not cool. That's not good. Again, that should have been a phone call, between the father and the mother. And if it got too far out of hand, I went left. My man could have just hung up on her ass and kept it moving. And we could handle it from her. And if I feel like we can't talk cordially. So how about you put it in a text or email? Because I can't talk to you. And I'm not going to allow you to come over and disrespect me like this. No, we're not going to do that. We could have a conversation either on the phone. Hopefully that's the first set of rules we can do that. And if it can't, it's going to go left. Then yeah, you can just text me, email me, whatever you're feeling or whatever you're thinking. Because you're not going to disrespect me and talk crazy to me like this. It's not what we're going to do. So
yeah, she said he didn't answer the phone. So that's why she pulled up.
Well, how many times she tried to call? The one time and he didn't answer, and then she because she was she came in hot. She's already hot, so he probably couldn't answer the phone one time, and that she felt the need to pull up just right then and there. Or she probably was calling while she was on the goddamn way. For all we know, I don't know. I don't know. Something like this. As a woman, as a mother, I'm sure they was hot. The phone call wasn't gonna be efficient enough for them. A phone call wasn't going to be good enough. Unless they was out of state, a phone call wasn't going to do it. So she wanted to see him. She wanted to see that woman. I'm sure she probably wanted to lay hands on that woman. I mean, he was getting to that point. She called her a bitch and all that, so it was obvious it was going left and she was ready for it. She probably had a fucking girl fight girl on for all we know. I don't know. So she was ready for all the smoke. So yeah, a phone call could have been a fit. Yeah. She did all that press. Matter of fact, she probably didn't have all that on. She had a bonnet. She had her slides ready to go with the gray sweats. Look, I'm just yeah, that's a white girl. But to me, it should have been a phone call. It should have been that much to that point. Like I'm glad. I guess she put it on tape, put on video, because I would have definitely had that on camera, because you know your baby mama. You probably been with her long enough. You know how her demeanor is, how she acts, when she gets upset. You know all that shit. So you know she gonna be clowning, and you knew the daughter was gonna say this. So the point is, when she was sitting there and say, "Well, my daughter don't act like with me." Guess what? I had that. I heard that same conversation as a substitute teacher. Well, yeah, little Johnny don't act like it with you because you had the authority to correct him in the manners that you need to correct him if he was acting like that. I don't have that same leisure. I don't have that same open or situation where I can lay hands and spank his ass when little Johnny's acting a goddamn fool. You do. So he's probably gonna act different because he's worried about you putting that belt to ass or putting that boot to his ass. I don't have that. I have the power to pen or the power to phone call your ass, and you come up with every excuse why Johnny don't act like that with me. That's bullshit. Just because you don't act like it with you, don't mean he don't act like that. We all know we didn't act bad in front of our parents, but when we got out in them streets, we was a goddamn terror.
Mm.
Who's to say she didn't do that? Oh, you ain't my mama. I can talk to you any type of way. I can get smart. I get with you because you ain't my mama. You ain't gonna do anything to me. My dad ain't here. Now I'm really gonna jump bad with your ass. So just saying.
See, that's the thing, though.
Wow.
Because if she, you know, you raise your children, right? You're not watching them, and so you would think that the mother, when she is with her mom, because her mom said, "Well, she don't do that with me," right? Are you instilling your child to be respectful to others? Because if you are, why would she go over there disrespecting this, you know, her father's new? I still don't. I'm gonna just say wife because they did say wife, but later on in the video was girlfriend and you know whatever. But if you're teaching her how to be respectful and that's what you are instilling in her, then you shouldn't have to, you know, whip this girl. You have a woman who is the mother of the child and she's raising the child. Who knows if she has a new boyfriend or whatever the case may be. The father has moved on. You don't know what the mother is actually, because her energy, her the way she came at their plate, that their residence says that she is aggressive. And I know this is her child, and I know that you don't want nobody else beating your child. But you know, you can't necessarily always fight fire with fire. You just can't always do it because everybody's not going to be on the same the emotions are going to be high. So somebody has to be there to balance everything out. And so for one, she's going to their house to curse the woman who lives there out. That's just not how you handle that. And because she's doing it that way makes me believe that her child probably is disrespectful because the mother's disrespectful. You're
Well, you
disrespectful.
know,
And I know that's your child, but there is a way that you handle things, and that's maybe what needs to be instilled into her child. There's a way that you handle things. You don't just, you know, you don't just temper tantrums or you don't just, you know, talk out of line. No, there's decency and there's order, but it's all in how you raise your children. So if this little girl's not being raised like that, she's not going to produce that. You inspect the people by the fruit that by the fruit that's there. And if the seeds that and the seeds that are in this little girl are disrespectful, what's going to come out of her? Disrespect.
well, that's a great point, Precious. And I was going to say that, but disrespect, all of them didn't show decorum or respect. So I can understand where the daughter might get it from. Can't pinpoint it, but I can understand it. The one thing that I would say is that although she did come in heated, I don't think that she was unwarranted. I think a lot of things instigated it. For example, not responding or not taking the phone call, which she said clearly. And if she was really trying to be um, uh, uh, ignorant, she wouldn't have been compliant to certain suggestions. When the stepmother said, well, this, that, and another, she said, okay, I can understand that. I don't mind her getting disciplined. So she was very rational in understanding there are other measures, but she was very clear that she did not want her to put her hands on her. And that is what she was just, because she got permission from the father, she's just overruling, like, it don't matter what you saying. I'm doing what he said, which is part of the problem, because he should have never had told her without having a conversation with the mother. So I understand clearly where a lot of this stems from, and guilt. We can point it at a lot of the adults, because none of them was acting like that. They all were sitting there acting like children, all three of them, and it was escalating as children do. So, as someone we commonly know, women are children, and so are men. And in this case, everybody was acting like children, and the child is probably sitting back there festering in it, because now the child has leverage to use that against and manipulate however the child wants to play and manipulate. Because I would have just had the child there. Wait, what did you do to her? That would have been the first thing that I would have been discussing. I understand that. As a matter of fact, where's she at? Come here. You don't disrespect this lady, and this is your father, and she is not going to put her hands on you. And it could have been a lot of different angles.
Okay. I think we actually have a caller. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we have a caller. Hold on.
I think I heard something.
She's on mute right now.
Guys, I'm sorry I put you on mute, but we do have a caller. Hello, how are you this evening?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So, what's your name, and what would you like to add to the topic this evening?
My name is Sister George, and I've been in the chat, kind of going back and forth with you guys if y'all are paying attention, or agreeing with some of y'all's points.
Mm-hmm.
I think that both of the women are kind of hood radish. The mom did come over there ready to fight, but I think that the man knows what type of women that he's dealing with, and being that he knows what type of women that he's dealing with, I feel like he probably gets off on that. I think there's a lot about that situation that he could have handled to prevent all of that. And then also with the child being disrespectful to the stepmom, I think there's a natural jealousy when we end up in new relationships, or when the man ends up in a new relationship with a woman, especially if the woman is more attractive or he does more for the woman. There's a lot of jealousy that occurs between relationships like that I think we don't really talk about, because everybody kind of fronts and, oh, I'm not jealous, I don't care, they can do whatever. And, it's sly remarks. And if it's gotten to a point of disrespect, then y'all already know that the mom probably be going in on the stepmom, and she allows the daughter to do it too. And they're friends or allies against the stepmom.
Sister George didn't said a word. She didn't said a word. You guys have anything you'd like to say back to her?
Nah, that was solid.
Well, look, I think the baby mama is trash.
Yep.
For coming over to the house and acting a fool like that. I don't care if I didn't answer the goddamn phone. I didn't answer the phone. Because first of all, if that woman chose to defend herself because she felt threatened,
right,
she could. And it would have been all left.
Mm-hmm.
It would. See, that's not good. Nothing about this. The whole situation is good. Now I can agree with the baby mama sit there and say you should have disciplined her. Yeah, he should have. Even though he wasn't there at the time, we could have tabled that discipline. We could. I would have called baby girl on her phone. I say put on the phone and say, look, I'll deal with you when I get home, and let my wife or our girlfriend, whatever the title she has, I would let her know, look, baby, I'm gonna deal when I get home. Don't worry about it. Just go on back to business, do what you was doing. I'll deal with her when I get home. And I would address it. And I would have told her right in front of the daughter and the mother. I mean, and my my girlfriend. This one right here, this is gonna be my wife one day. So you better not ever disrespect her in no type of form or fashion. You better give her the same respect as you do me. And you got to break that down. So that conversation had already been had. Unfortunately, it didn't happen until it actually happened. The disrespect happened. It should have been happened prior to. Now that's a poor decision, poor leadership on his part. That should have already been dealt with.
Sister George, well, thank you so much for adding to the show. We appreciate you for calling in.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Bye-bye. Keep watching that.
That's a nice first call.
Hey, I got a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kenneth.
I was just saying that's a nice first call.
Oh yeah. No, I looked at it from this standpoint. I want to ask you, if it was the other way around, where a man put his hands on your child, and your wife wasn't answering the phone, and because you want to address it, how would you approach it? Because I mean, your point is valid. I agree. She went over there crazy, but at the same time, if it was the other way around, is what I had to put in my mind. Like, if I was sitting there and some man put their hands on my daughter, how would I approach it?
It's no different just because of sex change. It doesn't matter. If I go over that house and I go over going left, my life could be in jeopardy, right? At the end of the day, my life could be in jeopardy. Now, look, if it was a type of abuse that I don't know what she did to her, type of put her hands on, I don't know. Then, baby girl, you have you can call the police. You can call CPS. There's a proper authorities you can call if she feels like she was really being abused, and then let them handle it. Let them go through that. She could have did the same thing with the stepmama or the girlfriend. Could have did the same thing. If that's what she needed to do what you need to do and let them investigate. And of course, the outcome may have been a lot different. You know, we would have had a different conversation, sit down, because if my child had did that and come to find out it wasn't nowhere near what she talking about, she lied and she not being all the way honest, yeah, she might not be able to come over the house for a while. I'm just saying.
And Hink has a good point. There was a viral story that happened, I'm not sure how long ago, but it was over a custody dispute where the biological father showed up at the new home demanding his kid according to the custody agreement, and people started getting angry, and the new dude puffing his chest out walked outside with a gun. All right, things escalated. New dude shot the biological father right then and there on the front steps. It was absolutely insane. And the biological father's new wife was sitting in there. The crazy part about it all, nobody was like sad that the shit went down. And I'm like, I can't believe this man lost his life showing up simply demanding to see his child in accordance with whatever custody agreement that they had.
You know what? Listen, you know what? But see, but actual King Smith, first of all, he didn't need to trespass to exercise his rights. He didn't need to do that. You know, one of the things I don't think men do is use the court system to their advantage.
To their advantage. Thank you. I'm in agreement with you, Payne.
No, I know you know that. Right. Yeah. I'm not saying you didn't, but I'm saying he shouldn't have lost his life anyway. But he put himself in danger by doing that because he got emotional.
Yeah.
He got emotional. And so back to this particular thing, like I said before, you know, I'm not wavered. I think the dude is 100% wrong, right? In this situation, he should have if you're going to have a daughter, you're going to get a new wife. The first thing you're going to do, if she's a stepmom, just like they expect men to do if you're going to be stupid enough to be a stepdad, you're going to have to square some shit out with the father of the kid. You have to. You just have to, especially if they're living under your roof. because that's your rules. Now, if your new wife with the kid doesn't agree with your rules, you should have never married. These are some simple things that need to go on. So the same thing in reverse. This guy got a new woman in his house with his daughter with an irate hyena on the end. And it seems like he picks hyenas as women anyway. Right? And I have to say this, and forgive me, chat and everybody else, she did have a nice ride. But I just, I had to say that, so I had to notice this. I'm still a man.
You
I've
didn't
been married
have
for
to
a long
notice
time.
it.
I had to. I had to acknowledge Durant, but that's okay.
Where your
But
wife at? I'm snitching.
So I'll bring it back down to a normal level so you can be happy. All right. So hold on.
Yeah, but I thought.
So, see, Mr. Payne, you
So
about to
that's
get
why.
that fourth office. You only had 3. You about to get 4 now.
Forgive me, right? Okay, let me finish. What I'm just trying to say, I blame all of this on the dude. I just do. I really do. You know what kind of women you have. Black girl magic is in full effect, and you should have anticipated that. So and I think he did, and he kind of gets off on have these two women yelling and screaming over him. He's a loser. I just want to say.
I think differently. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think that was in part one of the reasons he's no longer with her behavior. I think he found someone else that gave him peace. I think that toxic behavior was pushed into the child, and the child emulates what the mother wants.
I agree with part of that.
So when you came in bad faith, even though you couldn't get through to the father, a conversation was already had about the daughter being disrespectful. And as a good wife, she consulted her husband. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he gave her the okay to do what she did. I'm not in agreement with that, but he made a call. He made a call in his household.
I feel like he should have been at the door from the jump. I don't think if they in the same house together at the same time, then I don't think it should. And the mom had a problem with the way that his wife disciplined their child. He shouldn't have left it up to. He already not answering the phone. He shouldn't have allowed his wife to answer the door, or his wife should have said, "Hey, babe, Denise is here." I don't know what her name is. You know what I mean? It should have been immediate. He should have been immediately in the presence of the mother of the person he had a child with, having that direct conversation with her, and his wife should have been behind him or sitting on a couch or in a room or something, until they could come together to have a conversation with all of them. Because with the wife interjecting, you don't want to seem as though you're tag teaming. You're all supposed to be a team. When you're in a situation like this, you're all supposed to be a team. It's not us against you or you against us. No, the child, you are now part of the village. Okay. And if you're going to be part of the village, we're going to have to find some way to get along. I can understand the mom not wanting his wife to, hit her child with a belt or whatever the situation was. But the way that it was dealt with, it could have been dealt with differently. And I think it started with that man and that woman that he had a baby with. And so they need to be the primary people who are communicating with the father, bringing in his wife, saying, "Hey, this is what the situation is. She takes care of my child. I take care of my child. I give her what she needs and, whatever I have to provide. And when she's over here, I've moved on. I'm in a new relationship, but we all have to be on the same accord when it comes to the child. It's not a one team against the other. We all have to work as a team to raise the child, because the child is going to have influences from both ways. So why would you want to put one side on the other? It shouldn't be like, it's it's not going to be good for the child, because then you're going to develop the child's emotions and feelings towards one or the other parent prematurely. You know, you allow that child to see people for who they are, but you're not the one that's going to be, you shouldn't be the one aiding them in seeing people in a negative light, because life is going to do that to them soon enough. It already did it to them when they mom and daddy didn't marry.
I get what you're saying. I would love more context on the offense that the child made. Like, say, Precious, if you were my wife and I had a daughter from another woman, and say it went to the major, like, you ain't my mama, and she slapped you right in your jaw, you ain't gonna hit her back? You ain't gonna take it to as Hank would say, corporal punishment? You call the husband, you know what this little girl did? She slapped me right in the jaw.
We would have to have well, I wouldn't be with a man who has a disrespectful child. I'm sorry. If you don't know how to raise your children, I'm not going to be the one that's going to come in and be Miss Trunchbull. I'm just not doing it. You know, that's why I said, when you raise children, no matter who you bring into the picture, you're the roots. You're the tree that child fell from. So, you know, if the child can do it to me, you're capable of disrespecting me and doing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to see where the behavior comes from. So I'm not going to sit here and put my hands on a child, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be here in the next 2 weeks, because you got a child that's disrespectful. Like, it ain't worth me going to jail. No, it ain't. No. So I think that, you know, again, you'll know them by their fruit. If that child is disrespectful and she feels as though she's trying the new wife, and the husband or the father said she is disrespectful, well, maybe you need to try something else with the child. Maybe y'all need to have some other type of discipline, or bring somebody else in, or try ways to say, hey, look, she's having this problem with you, she's having this problem with me. What can we do together to make sure that we're on top of this, so she don't do this to the world, so somebody don't come in and knock her block off because she don't know how to be respectful? That's why it has to be a team. It has to be a village. And so things like this are going to happen. This is real. I don't know if it's real life or a skit, but things like this happen in real life. So we have to understand that you have to work together. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a team player. I'm never going to try and put you against somebody, and we all in this together, no matter what the circumstances are. Because at the end of the day, the child didn't ask for any of it. So we got to be, you know, better examples and make lemonade out of lemons, you know.
Precious, you speak in volume there. I don't think any of us can disagree with you. And
that's right. Like them people, what they do.
True.
I'm gonna read some of these comments. I just wanted to show this because I think a lot of people go through this. I mean, we talk about parenting all the time. We talk about, you know, single mothers all the time. And you have to get to a point where you're thinking ahead. And that's another thing. Women don't think long term, especially when you're in a situation where you're having a child and, you know, you're not with the father anymore, and you become the main provider, protect, you become everything for the child, right? But you're not thinking long term because you have so much on your plate. So you don't have someone there to help you balance it out. But you have to realize that you do have someone there balancing it out. You just don't have them there in the capacity that would have been the most probable for the child. They're still there. And I think that a lot of women make it seem as though the man is not there, or they push the man out, or they're not happy with what's being provided, or what he's trying to do, or they purposely, you know, cast the man out. And it's like, no, you still have to work as a team. You still have to do what's best for the child. And it's not going to be easy at first, but you do have to get to a place where, okay, long term, we're going to have to find a way to make this work. All right, some of these comments here. We have Nath, who says, Precious, imagine we chilling and another woman pull up talking pull up to talking crazy because her kid was talking crazy to you and you discipline her. Respect goes both ways. Ain't no passes. One thing about me also, I'm about maybe 35 credits away from getting my degree in teaching. So working with children was something I did for a very long time. Substituted, basketball coach, ref, like did so working with children, children respond to time and love. Time and love. Like there is no magical formula. It's very simple. And I think that sometimes we overcomplicate it because we are, humans and women are emotional. I think that sometimes we complicate it. And I think that we don't have to always, jump to the rah rah. Somebody said that she was a ratchet baby, or was it the caller who called in, or maybe Hank, or I forget who said, like she's a ratchet one. Like you don't always have to get there, but that comes with maturity too. That comes with maturity. Naf also said that's fair. If the fear of the father is there, she could have said, "Wait until your father gets home." Right, because y'all know, I don't know if y'all was raised in the house, but that wait till I tell your father that hurt a little bit more than the whipping did. So, your children have to respect you, and that's having a good amount of respectful fear for the person that is taking care of them and providing for them. It's almost it's like a respect, but not so they fear you so they don't come to you, but fear you because they know that you are going to discipline them in some way and they don't have free reins of the situation. Sister George said he's a common denominator. Thank you again, Sister George, for calling in. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Jason says, I will say that I like that the stepmom called dad and told him what his child was doing, meaning she didn't jump to hitting the kid. So that's true. She didn't just wail off on the child. He gave her permission. And that's where the father should have brung the mother in. It shouldn't have been an after effect. Like the mother shouldn't have had to find out from the daughter that the new wife is now bringing a belt to her. He should have, communicated with the mom, like, hey, just to let you know, I had this talk with my wife and we decided that this is how we're going to handle situations. And I wanted to let you know because, we're all raising her together. And I don't want you to find out after she's been disciplined. We've been having issues with little Tay Tay and we got to get it together. Like y'all have to work together. You have to work together. Jason said that's the other part. A lot of parents get madder at the person correcting, not necessarily spanking the child, than the thing the child did to get the correction. I agree. All right. So I appreciate you guys for chiming in. I see y'all are in the chat heavy. I see that Fatty did send some people over. So I appreciate your support, Fatty. Thank you so much. And thank you for those who are here for the other channels that are linked to this live as well. I see a couple likes from Facebook. So we appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you. We're going to get into this next topic. Was everybody done on that last topic?
Absolutely. And I've been in a situation, I didn't really bring it up, but I've been in a situation where I had to be make a choice. And I never wanted to put my discipline another man's child. Even when they were, because I don't believe, especially daughter, I don't believe in putting hands on a girl simply like Parpain said. I don't want her to get used to this is something that is natural. So after a certain age, I don't even like physical discipline on or spanking any lady. But to the point when she was disrespectful, her mother and I and her father had a discussion on how to approach it. And he then, because he was in another state, then said, hey, I give you my permission to discipline her. It still didn't comfort me to do so because of what I was just saying. I only had to do it one time in the many years of being that stepdad. And that was the end of it. But initially, it was a conversation. There was a commission, and there was a lot of things that were measures prior to getting to the point of having to give a spanking.
All right. Well, I was gonna say anybody who's about to get into a relationship with an individual who has kids. First things first, each person who has the child needs to set the tone. You need to set the tone prior to me getting into a full-fledged relationship like that. You already see mamas dating. You already see daddies dating or seeing somebody are having interest in other people. So you know that eventually it's going to move into something probably more than likely being something serious. So if it's coming to the point where now we're charged to introduce the other person into our extended family, the tone needs to be set. And as the parents, that's the person's responsibility to set the tone, letting it be known, hey, daddy's about to see someone and it's starting to get serious. I would like to introduce you to them, and I want you to be respectful and let them know you need to respect them like you respect me. That tone needs to be set prior to. Don't just go moving somebody in and say, well, it's my woman and this is how it is. No, all that needs to be taken care of prior. Even if you don't have custody of the kids, it needs to be taken care of prior to in that relationship. It has to be. If not, you're setting it up for failure.
I agree. Those are the questions, things you have to deal with in the dating phase when you're, thinking about joining with someone. So I definitely agree with that. The foundation of someone's family is very, very important. You need to know the foundation that they have already set before you walk in, especially women with uh, men who have children, both ways. But you want to see that that man has a good handle over his family life, that he has a good control over what's going on if he has children with other women.
Well, Precious, when you say especially, why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because in a situation like what we just watched,
no, I understand that, but but it's more than that because you felt that even before you saw that video, correct?
well, yeah, because men, he would be the foundation. And I'm not saying that women aren't the foundation of, them having children. But if you get into a situation where a man can be talked to any type of way, or he's being run over by the person that he had a child with, then the person who's coming in may think that, she's giving him something that was missing in the relationship with the child's mother, when in reality, this guy is missing maybe a male figure in his life that probably should have given him that talk or coaching on how to stand firm, how to stand your ground, how not to allow certain things to come in and sway you from decision making and things of that nature.
No, I hear you about the female influence on the guy.
Yeah.
But let's land it there. I mean, that's a good enough explanation. I see a little bit of opposite because most of the scenarios are men taking up women with children. I think, as opposed, and there's enough men in the sphere out there who think that that's an anathema, for doing that. But no, I accept your explanation. We I don't want to get derailed on that shit. But let's go.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get into this second video. I saw this one. He's a comedian, and I like his his skits and his jokes and things of that nature. But he had put this post out. It was very, outlier of what he usually posts, which are his jokes and his tour dates and things of that nature. But I saw this and I wanted you guys to answer the questions, because while he's asking women, while I have y'all on Monday nights, I mean, why skip around the bush? Why not just ask y'all directly what it is? And I don't want this to be a what does she bring to the table type of conversation. This is going to be strictly what you would want in a relationship. So make it a little personal, okay? Because there might be some women watching who's like, I need to take note. I need to take note. All right.
Let's break this down. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody who just got married, a good friend of mine. I was sending her my congrats, on her marriage and, whatever. And we was talking and she just was like, yo, she's happy that there's just certain things that she doesn't have to do anymore now that she's a wife. And she was mentioning things like bring water in the house, pump gas, take out the trash, things of that nature. And I totally agree with her. I thought that as a woman, if you have a man, you shouldn't have to do those things. But I was just thinking, like, what are some things that a man shouldn't have to do once he gets a woman? Like, what are some things that women should just take over once he's a husband, So I couldn't think of too much. I want to get y'all opinion. Can't wait to hear this shit.
I wanted to just ask you guys directly. Now that she's a wife, when she becomes a wife, men usually, y'all are getting that water, y'all are putting gas in the car, oil changes, car washes, tire, like whatever it is, you guys are doing it. But what is it that a woman can do now that, and what is it that she can take over now that you're a husband? Because when she become a wife, you start doing, different things for her. So what is it that she can do?
Are you going in any order?
No, you can go ahead.
A couple of things. One, consider and take into consideration things that she can observe that will help me out in my needs. So, where in fact, for example, I'm where I'm weak and she can identify it. Let's say if I don't know how to if I'm not good with finances and she is, then introduce that to me. If I'm not cooking or eating good meals, or I'm always going out to fast food on lunch at work, make me lunch and say, here you go, babe. And I've had this done where I get to lunch and I had a little note in, hope you have a good day. Just consideration, the consideration that while I'm considering you and everything else, you're in turn considering me and showing it through things that you think that I might need. So that's primarily the first thing. And the second thing is I would like her to do any sexual deed I need. No, I'm just joking.
Keep going, man. Keep going, man.
Oh, man. No, in all actuality, just be mindful, including sexual needs. Including asking what I like and find it, basically being attentive to what I like and being willing to do it. But more importantly, somebody said it a couple of weeks ago, have the willingness to want to change and grow with me.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Who would like to go next? All right, so let's just do a little recap with Sean. So you want her to maybe cook if you can't cook, or make you a sandwich. All right. For work. Maybe financial area, if that's an area that you need a little bit of help in, you would want her to come in and say, hey, let me help you with that, because we are helpmates. Sexually, you would want her to be open.
Not finances making, but administrating.
Okay, administration. So clerical work.
I'm weak at administration, so I would love for her to help in administration.
Gotcha. And then the sexual part, you'd want her to be open, not necessarily you got to do everything, you know, that you done seen in a corn video, but open to exploring what you. Okay, got it. Now I'm coming on camera for that. Got you. All right. Who would like to go next? What are some of the things wives should take over now that you're a husband?
All right, I'll jump in. I think for me, so I'm going to speak for me. There's just going to be certain things that her and I are going to agree upon, and once we agree upon those things, we're going to honor it, right? I will talk about from my prior marriage. Look, I am not a Mr. Fix It dude, right? My lady knew that before she married me. So going into that marriage, she knew that, you know, that wasn't something that I wasn't good at. But I was the one that I said, hey, when it comes to like the car stuff, making sure that the car maintenance and things like that, don't worry about that. I got that, right? You're not gonna have to worry about, you know, making sure that your gas tank is full. I got that. So there were just certain things, not necessarily defined gender roles, right? But there's just certain things that we had agreed on going forward. Like I'm in a relationship now. What me and Michelle talk about and what my expectations are from her and hers from me, it's certain things. Specifically, I'm not expecting her to have a hot meal, you know, every time I come home or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or things like that. What she has told me is that she said, hey, look, while I'm not the best chef in the kitchen, I will make sure that you are fed, you know, however that works out. Right. And I'm thankful for that. That's something that I don't necessarily have to think about. So it's just some things that she takes off of my plate that we agree on, and other things that I take off of her plate that, you know, she agrees on and accepts. So it depends on the agreement that you have with that person.
Okay.
Well, let me just go ahead. You know, one of the things I look at on these YouTube streets that's lacking is with women with all these high standards of what they want from a man, but it's very seldom that you'll hear any of them say what they're going to give in return. So I like the video that the guy talked about. The only problem is that I would never get married to a woman unless I know what she's committed to give me back in return.
Bingo.
Never. And you know, and one of the things I love about YouTube now is that it helps me reflect on my life when I got married to my wife. I was not that sophisticated. I could articulate it now, but it's divine intervention that I was looking for certain things that sustained us through the years when I found her. Now, you know, everybody said, well, it was a different time back then. We had freaks back then. It was during the sexual revolution back then. Everybody keeps forgetting about that. You know, from 60s to 80s was the massive sexual revolution. So it's not, you know, so all I'm just trying to say is I got blessed, not lucky, that I was able to vet a woman. So all I wanted from my wife was respect, uh, exclusivity, and access, nurturing my children and being willing to take my leadership because I wasn't asking. I was just assuming it. And so those things was what she was willing to give me. And in return, I give her everything. My wife has everything I have to offer, not only while I'm alive, but when I'm dead, she won't have to she won't have to go back to the streets. Women don't make those kind of commitments to men, you know? So all I'm just trying to say is, you know, so if you don't got some of that kind of straightened out when you want to cleave to a woman, then you know that's on you. You know, so the question itself was a good question, but if the guy got married without having some understanding of that, that's where he made a mistake. I'll leave it there.
Okay. I gotta bring up when guys, I didn't get to see Mrs. Payne, but I got to hear her. Our Payne was on Hamp's show last week. Was it Friday? I think it was Friday.
Yeah.
And Ham was up there for a while. He was up there for like 6 hours or whatever. But at one part of the show, Miss Payne came on the show and they were talking about how many times that has Arpain and his wife gotten into an argument, and it was about 3 or 4 times or something like that. And Arpain remembers it that he won every but when Mrs. Payne came on the mic, she was like, "Well, 3 or 4 fights, I won them." But what I found special about that is when love is in a room, you could feel it, and you don't have to be near it, and you could tell that the love was there just by her being near him and them both communicating, on their own accord. And they weren't, swaying one another to say anything. But when you're around somebody, you start looking like them, talking like them, sounding like them, all that good stuff. But you could just tell they just had a beautiful love. So we might have to get that one-on-one if Miss Payne.
I put my neck out there, because it was completely impromptu, and I said, "Oh my God, don't say the wrong." I was thinking to myself, because
They
when you said
throwing up gang signs when you went like this.
I was trying to do the hard thing. I couldn't do it. I said, "You know what?" Because she was, no, he's flashing gang signs. Like, come on, fellas. I was trying to do the hard thing.
They were
But
saying
anyway,
he was nervous.
Him put that behind his firewall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he put that whole video. You gotta join his thing to get that one.
You guys definitely gotta subscribe, whatever you gotta do. But it was a great display of Black love, and to show that it is possible. But great job, Arpan. I'm glad I was able to, because I'm usually
I saw.
Okay.
You was tense. I saw you.
When I was what?
Yeah.
Oh,
your shoulders was high.
Yeah, okay. I was tense. You know what? I was. So, oh my God, don't end it all for me right now, baby. Don't do it.
Man,
we got some people seen
it. He's tense right now. Just speaking about it. He looks nervous.
My good.
That's my baby, man. Leave my wife alone.
I can see our pages. Go ahead.
I know that too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the time. No, so shout out to our pain, this old lady. As far as me, I believe in gender roles. So, I mean, some people says chaotic. I mean, a caveman mentality. I don't give a shit. I don't do nothing in the house, clean, none of that shit. No, I'm not doing that. So she's gonna do all that, and I do everything else. So King said he's not Mr. Fix guy. I'm that guy. So if I can fix it, I'm gonna try to fix it as long as it doesn't violate the warranty or the insurance. I'm gonna try to fix it. Whereas between the hot water heater, changing the battery in the car, do what I gotta do. I'm gonna do that. Make sure the yard's manicured, taken care of, and all that good stuff. Make sure her car's running right. Speaking of that, I gotta switch her Texas tags over to her Kentucky tags. I gotta make sure I do that. So all of those little things, I make sure I do. She don't have to worry about that much. She don't have to worry about stuff like that. That's not gonna be a problem. But again, I'm not doing those other things because she's taking care of it. Because I believe, and she believes, we both believe in gender roles. So there you are. She's not taking that trash. She'll get it together. She may even put it by the door, but it's not going outside. She's not putting her hands on it like that. So it is what it is. Even when I go to her apartment, she'll put the trash outside the door, and I'm taking it to the trash as I leave to go to my truck. It's what it is. I ain't got no problem with it. But as long as we both in agreement on the situation, it is what it is. Now the part about the sex thing, I mean, that's not the problem. We both love it. And we both make sure we are well taken care of. She meets the requirements of minimum 4 times plus a week, so that's not an issue. And she's doing too much in the chat right now as we speak.
They're ready.
You know what's a beautiful thing? The fact that your women, both Payne and Hank, are supportive of what it is that you're doing, and without and King, I'm sorry.
I would have said, hold up.
I'm sorry, King. I'm sorry, King. Kenneth and I, we got work to do. And I saw why you got work to do the other day, Ken, when you had that lady, when you and that lady was going at it. But but no, seriously, it's good to see that when couples support one another, even if they're not physically present or in the chats, they're there supporting whatever it is, and that's another quality that I think, and part of what I was saying, just consistent consideration of one another.
Yeah. The actual King Smith put in the chat, oh, I neglected one thing. Michelle says she does inside stuff. I do outside stuff. That was our agreement. And usually that's how it is. I know growing up, like my dad wasn't the fix it type of guy, but he was the guy who had the money to get it fixed. My mom always said you want to be with somebody who can either fix it or pay to have it fixed, but I like men who use their hands. I don't know. It's just something about a man who uses his hands, or that will learn how to do something, or will hang something, hammer nails in the yard. I think that should want to make a woman even more motivated to take care of you, just because of the hard work. It's something about seeing hard work. I think work that men do, no matter what it is hard work, because shit, I don't want to be doing it. But but it's something about seeing the sweat in the hard work. For me, that's just for me. Some women that just be like, no, you could just pay for it. But it's something about seeing that a man is working hard and using his hands and doing the things that women don't like to do, and that's usually the things that are outside of the home, or the things that break inside of the home, but the women make the house a home. So the woman is going to make sure you have your sandwich, or make sure your bath water is ran, or your shower is ran, or your towels is right there, or your pajamas, your work clothes are ironed. Like, those are just things that she's going to do to take off of your plate, so you don't necessarily have to do it. Get your blackheads, because men don't, all men don't get they manicures or feet done, rub your feet. Like, those are things that men would not necessarily focus on. You'll get to it when you get to it, but a woman would be a little bit more prioritizing that for you, because it's part of self-care. And if a woman takes care of herself and you are an extension of her, she's going to want to take care of you too. She's going to want to give you that type of treatment every now and again, or occasionally, because it's just needed. So I think like Sean says, it's good that we have men on the panel that have women to support them, and it doesn't seem like any of them do it with any type of strife or pushback about it. And women are going to be women. We're going to get in our emotions, we're going to get in our feelings. But the one thing about women, we just have to communicate those things, because men are pretty simple. It's just like, you don't feel like being bothered to say, okay, cool, I'll go hang with the guys. Like, all right, you don't gotta say, you don't have to repeat yourself twice. But I think it's when we're not necessarily communicating is what sets us back. I love taking care of him. It makes me feel good when he is taken care of, and I benefit from it tenfold. Yes, it makes women feel good to take care of other. I mean, we're just nurturing creatures at heart anyway. So while it's helping you, it also helps us as well. Tarika says absolutely. Nav says, Precious, I've heard that before. Literally just mounting a TV or putting my girl's furniture together while she's cooking, that shit is real. They be like, yes, because it's just like, I can't do that, and I appreciate you so much, because I can't do it. Like, it's just that's the yin to the yang, right? She cooking, you build it. It, to me, it's just perfect harmony. It's perfect. I can't put together that bag. Maybe some macaroni and cheese if you want. Like, it's perfect harmony in my opinion. And of course, if it's a man who don't work with his hands and he pays for it, that's cool too. There are some, bands that make a dance. That's what they say. There are some women who get turned on by just you saying you're gonna pay for it. But it's something about a man who work with his hands, for me, that's just like, oh geez.
But you let all your secrets out, Precious.
Look,
They're out there now.
I'm just saying. I know there has to be some women that feel the same way. Like it's something about a man.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Sorry, it just is. That to me, old school. That's old school. The guys back in the day did not mind getting dirty, rolling their sleeves up, getting underneath that car. What you need, baby? Let me get a paper towel. Like it's just to me that I don't know.
Woo, that's funny.
So
I have a funny story with that. If y'all want to hear it.
Yeah. Do we have a choice, Sean? Do we have a choice?
I'm from the projects, right? So house things I'm not always that familiar with. But I'm willing to do it. As a matter of fact, I want to do it. I take the challenge to do it. So in moving in the house, right? We wound up getting there, and I was looking on how to turn the water. I was going to change the one of the faucets on the water, and so I went to YouTube to figure out how to do it. The first thing that it said, turn the water off to the house. The first thing. So I'm sitting there, and then they said to screw it. So I'm sitting there screwing some of the stuff, and it seemed like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's not going to be an issue. All I'm going to do is it's not coming out like that. Man, I turned the screw, the whole faucet just exploded. I flooded the house. I didn't know how to turn off the water. It was outside. It just kept going and going like a geyser. Finally, one of the neighbors came because we had just moved in the house. One of the neighbors came, and I was like, "Yo, I can't get the water up." I mean, I literally was swimming in it, eating it, all that. And so they took me to the place outside where you had to turn the water off from. And my lady she won't ever forget it. She said, the first thing it said, turn the water off. And I just went beyond that. And my lesson was learned that I am not a plumber. And more importantly, read and pay attention to the instructions that you are following.
So every house has two water shut off. You have two water shut off. It is either inside your house or sometimes most times it's inside your house. And if you have a basement, it's usually there. So yeah, you got two forms of shutting off your main water. So that and the one outside, if it's outside, you dealing with the water coming down. So
yeah, it was the main water line.
To shut it off, or a channel lock. You can shut it off with a channel lock too. It's probably about 3 feet down in order to get to it. But yeah.
Well, thank you, Hank. And I'm learning still. But again, I'm a guy from the projects. Did not know. I turned off the water. You know how you turn it off under the sink? I'm thinking that's the line to turn off the. So I turned that off. But man, oh man, was I so wrong?
You turned off with the hot and cold water. That's all you turned off. You didn't turn off the main water.
I learned that now. I wish I knew you then, Hank. I would have called. I'd have been like, yo, how do we do this?
Follow instruction.
Hey, Precious. I just pulled up a picture of me, even with trying to use YouTube University, of me trying to fix it. If you're able to share that, that is an accurate representation of me trying to fix shit. I'm gonna stare. I'm gonna look at that.
That ain't you standing like that, is it? That ain't you standing like that.
No, with his pants down.
King, that ain't you standing like that, is it?
No, sir. I don't sag.
No, I said, King, that ain't you like it, is it?
Oh, no. Hey, man. I'm just sharing the meme.
I hope not. God damn it.
And you know what's crazy? That's a young gentleman in the back of a telecom cabinet looking at batteries.
Well, I don't know what it is, so thank God for him, whoever he is.
I had a
I'm
question.
just kind of disappointed that I wasn't Precious's kind of guy because man, I feed the economy. I don't know how to do shit, man. I'm from the city, I'll hammer a nail, but all the heavy lifting. Hey, man, you know what? Give me the best price. Get your ass in here and get your Guidos and shit.
Well,
Do
that's
my
how
stuff. You know,
that's how I grew up. My dad was able to pay for things, and then me, my mom, and my brother did things around the house. So,
I mean, I got some rudimentary skills, but I ain't trying to do nothing. You know what? I didn't get to where I'm at now to go do that shit myself. Yo, I'm feeding the economy. I'm helping America great, keep America great by passing the money around and shit. That's what I do. Yeah, no wonder my wife looks at me with disdain. She says, yeah, I had to grow the beard so my wife could imagine me as LX Gente and shit.
Well, the beard is holding strong, so I appreciate you for holding strong with the beard, because some people would have had grown and then cut it off by now. So you're holding strong with that beard.
Well, you know what I found out, right? That my wife has been harboring a secret bearded love for a guy. I can't cut it off now. She grubbing it and feeling it and shit. So, that's you know what? You know what? You cheating on me, goddammit. And you always wanted a bearded guy, and you settled for me. I bless you for that. So now I got the beard. I can't shave it off.
So Brother Prank, you know what it is. She
Tell
seen
me.
me on the show. She seen me on the show.
Oh, yeah.
My
I
God,
made sure she ain't seen your sick ass. I made sure she ain't seen that.
You ain't right.
She said, Robert, I want you to grow hair like he.
Miss Payne over here, Lusty. Y'all better not stop. Don't do this. Don't do this to Miss Payne.
Oh man, that's just funny, man.
Like this.
Yo, no, man. The wife is dedicated, man. I'll accept you as you are.
I know that's right.
And you know what? I did my video for my wedding, and I was gonna post it, but there's so many memories in there that I share with the family. Everybody calls me crying. But if you ever want to see a real wedding, my wedding, I looked at, I said, look at me. You know what? I look at my wedding. I looked at how I looked, and all I can say is, what happened to you? What happened to you? Because, man, I was, you know what? I must have left a lot on the table. I was looking good. Wife was beautiful. But okay, she's beautiful. The wedding was for her. But I started looking at myself. I said, holy shit, man. You know what? I didn't appreciate what I had going on back then. Holy moly. She's a lucky woman.
Look, every day you're afforded a new day, new mercy. So work with it.
I'm gonna chop that up one day and put it out there for all y'all to see what a wedding used to look like from the past.
Definitely love to see it. All right. So has everyone gone? Kenny, did you go on this one? Did everybody?
Nah, but I had a quick question. So wait, King, do you plan on getting married?
No plans on getting married.
Kenny, that's a sensitive subject, Kenny.
Very sensitive.
No, it's not. People have said that I've said the word never again. And I'm like, no, I have never said never. I have always said highly unlikely. While I do not have plans to get married, the answer to your second question is it is not off the table. Yet, my lady and I, like, a marriage is just like a contract. We have a relationship contract. We've shown that piece of paper to the people. You know what I'm saying? So we have some solid building blocks that if it were to be a conversation that her and I would have, I'm not afraid of it like I was 4 years ago, but it's not a topic that we're talking about actively.
And King, I want to say this. She's a special lady and appreciate that, because if she has the patience to understand your point of view because of, your past scenario, that's a real quality that I think I hope that you cherish. Let's say that.
No doubt.
I bring it up quickly to understand that from what you show or what you permit us to see, it looks like you have a strong bond, and I'm all for that because I get lumped in the head even by Hink and them other guys about my stance on uh evaluating what is perceived to be a marital contract and how things are supposed to go. We look at biblical, we look at contract wise, we look at how Western to Eastern ways of it, just having the conversation in good faith. Like I have an uncle, 40, 50 years, they've been together. They never got married. They ain't going nowhere. But for some, like you said, the contract is for, I'm doing it for the woman. I'm doing it to please the woman that I cleave to, that I call my rib. If you're looking at it biblically and following those tenets so that she could be without regret or resentment that you took something precious from her.
Ooh.
No pun intended. So that is why I ask. As for staying on the question, if that was me in that situation and I chose to take the vows, I would have to adhere to them. I would say that within the matrimony and me just being graduated from college, I would have to strive to get my PhD before I'm in a pine box within the marital contract, if you get where I'm going. Because I know nothing is a perfect monolith of anything, and it's just about learning those nuances to keep a marriage lively, together, happy, and functioning. And we have way too many examples nowadays of how people are so quick to run away from something they swore under God that they would keep forever.
So,
You know, okay.
Did you answer the question though? Of what are some of the things the wife should take over when you become a husband?
Take over?
Yeah,
I
like
thought the improvements as for when you got married. Or so if you want that caveat, what she should take over.
yeah, so as a single woman, you're carrying the water in the house, but as a married woman, now your husband does it. So, are there things that you would want your wife to take over now that she's your wife and you're her husband?
Uh, it's hard to answer that because it's too broad a brush because we don't have the traditional values anymore. But I would want her to be my helpmate. I would want her to be my rib and my support system. So I can't like pinpoint exactly what because different marriages have different dynamics. But I would
Okay,
want her to be there for me.
gotcha. But think about Kenny, right?
Oh,
So,
me personal. Oh,
yes.
uh,
So
you
think about the things that see. I think this may be hard for some men, and I'm not saying you personally, Kenny, but for some men because you guys are okay with simplicity, right? You're okay with doing things very logically and not, putting too much thought into it to the point where it's going to stress you out or, throw off your plans or whatever. Like I was watching a lady on Instagram and she says women plan fun, men don't.
that's not true.
You could, well, primarily, okay. Single men can call they boys, and be like, "Hey, what y'all doing?" Whereas women will be like, "Oh, well, next week I'm free and I'll be able to go have brunch with you." It's just men are more so. You guys
Spontaneous.
are
Spontaneous.
so spontaneous, right? And so women are more so detail oriented and trying to figure out what's going on. So I think it may be hard for some men to answer this because I'm not saying that men don't take care of themselves. I'm not saying that y'all don't take care of yourselves, but the detail is not as though it would be as if a woman was around. To me, it's
I'm
just not.
simple.
I don't think so.
I
With
get
some men.
what you're saying, so I can make it short and sweet.
Mhm.
I like when a woman pots my bumps. I like when I can have a woman that isn't afraid to do like spontaneous stuff like skinny dip or do something on a bucket list, pick up and go. I would like a woman that has no problem rubbing my feet.
Mm.
Most women wouldn't dare touch your feet nowadays, despite what a lot say.
I can imagine how crusty they are.
Nah, mine's is nice. Sorry about you. I remember you used to walk barefoot to school.
Put no work into Myra toes. Say no, I'm just kidding.
You took a shot, Pain. I know you used to walk barefoot to
I'm
school.
sorry, brother. I was just thinking about Shaq for a second.
You know I'm gonna get. Oh, they should tell you about me. Fred
Shaq
or Jamie Foxx's feet in that damn movie. Oh my god.
Okay, so foot rubs, you know.
I'm simple.
Care.
You ain't got to do much.
Right.
Just give me peace. You can pop my bumps. You can give me a foot rub and cook a meal occasionally. I don't need it every day.
Right.
Just those simple things. And I'm good. Be my pieces first. Benevolent leader.
Yes. I value that. First and foremost, that is that Michelle knew that from the get-go. And Sean said something earlier. One of the reasons why her and I've worked out, for those of y'all that don't know, I didn't want to be in a relationship. Yet her and I
remember when you still on them dating apps, like, y'all read this mess.
Yet her and I came together when I was in a fantastic spot, right? And I did see, especially after being out on the dating streets, that she was an honest person. She hit me with honesty from the get-go. I didn't get a representative. I got her. And I instantly saw that. And it was one of the reasons why, even though I'm like, I don't want to be in a relationship, I don't be in a relationship. I ended up being in a relationship because I saw some fantastic qualities in her. And here we are like 19 months later.
That's nice. It's good.
All right. So did everyone go on this? I think Hank went, Kenny went, Sean went, or Payne. All right. I think you all went on this topic. So I appreciate you guys for sharing, you know, what are some things that wife should take over now that your husband and all the things that you said. I don't think that women should have an issue taking those things over. If she is a woman who's into you, she wouldn't mind doing those things. So whether it's nurture, self-care, cooking for you, doing your laundry. Some guys like to do their own laundry though. That's one thing that some guys, they like, don't touch my laundry. You ain't gotta wash my clothes. So
I don't mind doing our laundry. I do them both, fold and all that. I like doing laundry.
Well, good, because I'm, you know, I'll do the ironing and things like that. But if you like washing and drying, hey, be my guest. So that was interesting to me. I don't find a lot of men that like to do laundry, but on these YouTube streets, I heard a lot of men say, "Oh, don't do my laundry," and it's almost like, what's up with your clothes? Like, it's almost like,
I would say it because they don't want them streaks to be seen.
No, you know, actually, it's not that. Really, no, it's a metric, right? Everybody has a different metric on when they need to wash clothes. For me, it's like how many drawers I have left. If I have one drawer, you know, just one piece of underwear left, it's time to do laundry, right? So my wife might have a different metric. My kids might have a different metric because as soon as they learned how to use the washing machine safely, they wash their own clothes, dry them, and all that shit. So, you know, so everybody's different. I didn't need my wife to wash my clothes. I've been, you know, I've been washing them for my whole, you know, into my 20s. Why would I need her to take this shit over? Now, I don't wash any dishes. I don't do dishes.
So, Arpine, roughly, how often are you guys' wash machine running throughout the week? Is it like?
Oh, you know, my kids are grown now, but it's not much, you know, because me, you know, my secret is I got a lot of pair of drawers. You know, so and I don't have to do it that often, but the goddamn pail is so happy. When I was younger, I was able to run up and down the stairs with a full pail. Now I'm doing like maybe backwards and shit because it's just heavy. You know, so I only do my but I my metric has always been how many drawers I have. How many drawers you got left? Because you can't wear drawers twice.
Wait.
You can't wear drawers.
I think you do all.
Right.
I think you turn yours on inside. think that's what you do, R-Pain.
You know what? No, I'm not gonna ever be that guy. That's why I know. That's why I use that trick. I'm never that guy. No matter how bad it is, no matter how tired I am, I've only got one pair of drawers left. It's time to wash clothes.
You never free ball or pain,
No.
throw in your jeans, go about the business.
Well,
Or
not to
go,
go out,
or
not
go buy
to
some
go
new ones. You
outside.
don't feel like
I
doing
can't
laundry.
go outside without drawers because all I think about is if I ever got stopped by cops and they want to take my clothes off, I gotta have some underwear on. You know, I can't get out there and be freewheeling and shit. You know, while I'm in the lineup.
Well, Officer Steve dressed for big ass. Why would he need to do that?
Well, you know what? If he want a horror show, you know what? I'll give him one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Come on.
How
You know, think
many
about.
drawers y'all got? Like you should have at least like 2 or 3 weeks worth of underwear without
Yeah,
having.
you gotta have at least 2 or 3 weeks worth of drawers.
Yeah, before you know. I mean, I don't think you should wait 3 weeks.
Are those
Yeah, Sean.
that's not the
You need,
Oh, they
you
out
need,
there?
it sound like he's
Give him the
food
mute.
order.
Here we go.
You're gonna mute, Sean.
Give him the mute.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to the next topic.
Yeah, funny.
And do you guys iron before we move on? Because a lot of people don't iron no more. I don't know why people don't iron no more.
That's one thing I do like doing, ironing my clothes. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Only iron when I need them. Only iron when if I'm aware of it, I iron it. But it just hanging around, they hang up. Only if I need to wear it, I'll iron it before I go out.
I don't even
I
know.
don't iron it before
My Levi's got that hella crease in them. Them some bitch stand up.
You look like a crease wearing dude.
They're not wrong, no.
They don't roll with it, but you can tell about a certain type of person that
you put some water on that crease. You put some water on the crease. I'll go with the hot iron. It'll stay in there.
Now I would say that after I did the laundry, she would iron for me. She would make sure that I don't go out wrinkled because I don't have that much decorum when it comes to that. But she would make sure I'm coming out clean.
Oh yeah. Don't do the wrinkle. Yeah, I iron it, even if you don't want to iron it. But we're not going out wrinkled. We're not doing that.
Our pain's too lazy. He gonna throw his in a dryer and hopefully dry out the wrinkles.
No, I iron. I got an iron in my bedroom. I have an iron board always up with an iron. I got like 6 irons, and I don't know where this shit came from. I mean, you know what? Somehow,
you just telling on yourself as you trying to make a point. You telling on yourself.
Listen, man. After years, you accumulate irons, and sometimes the light goes out, you get a new one, and this, and So I just haven't thrown them out yet.
Are you a horse?
No,
they're weapons now.
No, it just happens that way. It's not 6.
That's why you lost in 4 arguments, Pain, because your ass get that iron upside your goddamn head.
Oh my
You know what's so funny though? When she said that, I said, "Oh my god, I really lost that many? I don't remember." And Fatty loved it. Fatty loved it.
I understand why you was looking behind your back when we started talking about your wife.
Oh, you on that panel too? Man, my wife. Actually, she was bringing me a. Oh,
I'm talking about tonight. I'm talking about tonight. We started speaking about her. You was looking behind you. You looked all nervous.
No, my wife is like she's sleeping. Man. She ain't up here, man. Listening to me crazy.
That's why you can talk. That's why you can talk freely now.
I talk freely all the time. Listen, when she came up here, I was talking freely already. And you know what? The funny thing is, she was bringing me a sandwich of all things. Right? You know how men don't like, women don't like to bring a sandwich. She brought a sandwich. Just say, here you go, Big Daddy.
What's up, fella?
Hey man, it's fun being married. I don't know about you guys, man. My life is so uncomplicated. I don't know what to say.
As it should be. Life is not that hard. It's not as hard as people make it. It's very simple. You get along, love each other, and communicate. All right. So we are going to move on to the next topic here. Someone actually sent me this video, so I wanted to go over it. I thought it was actually good. So we're going to go over this one next. After this one will be our last one, then we're going to close out.
Agenda, okay. Right? When we look at the dynamics inside of an unhealthy relationship, I think on a practical level, those type of relationships make it easier for a person to sustain with the tools that they developed, right? A lot of people have developed tools in unhealthy relationships, or reference from unhealthy relationships. So you don't have to stretch and evolve and change and sacrifice any type of version for yourself for an unhealthy relationship. You can keep being argumentative. You can keep being small-minded. You can keep being inconsiderate. You can keep, you know what I'm saying? You can keep being codependent if that's the issue in an unhealthy relationship. Whereas a healthy relationship, like you saying, it's like, nah, bro, you're not about to just yell at me, dog. Like, we got to have a real conversation. Like, no, we not doing the silent treatment. Like, if there's an issue, let's discuss it or plan to discuss it. You feel me? And it's like some people don't necessarily have the tools to be a partner in a healthy relationship. So it's convenient for them to stay in toxic situations. It's convenient for them to say, it's also convenient to continue to blame the partners that they entertain and that they choose. It's not that convenient to say, hey man, I'm actually not trying to do the work to develop into a healthy partner. I'm not trying to become emotionally available. That's why I keep entertaining men that give me half effort or women that give me half effort. You feel me?
I don't get it. He said a lot, so I'm out.
You can't cop out. You got to say something, Kingsman.
He pretty much is saying that people are, because of unhealthy relationship, people are not growing in unhealthy relationships. They're using that as a crutch to actually stay in them, and they don't develop new skills or any type of maybe conflict resolution skills in order to advance their relationships. They use it as a crutch. They blame other people instead of getting the tools in order to have a healthy relationship. So I'm gonna play it one more time, and then we'll go over it. Okay.
Outside of gender, right? When we look at the dynamics inside of an unhealthy relationship, I think on a practical level, those type of relationships make it easier for a person to sustain with the tools that they developed, right? A lot of people have developed tools in unhealthy relationships, or reference from unhealthy relationships. So you don't have to stretch and evolve and change and sacrifice any type of version for yourself for an unhealthy relationship. You can keep being argumentative. You can keep being small-minded. You can keep being inconsiderate. You can keep, you know what I'm saying? You can keep being codependent if that's the issue in an unhealthy relationship. Whereas a healthy relationship, like you saying, it's like, nah, bro, you're not about to just yell at me, dog. Like, we got to have a real conversation. Like, no, we not doing the silent treatment. Like, if there's an issue, let's discuss it or plan to discuss it. You feel me? And it's like some people don't necessarily have the tools to be a partner in a healthy relationship. So it's convenient for them to stay in toxic situations. It's convenient for them to say, it's also convenient to continue to blame the partners that they entertain and that they choose. It's not that convenient to say, hey man, I'm actually not trying to do the work to develop into a healthy partner. I'm not trying to become emotionally available. That's why I keep entertaining men that give me half effort or women that give me half effort. You feel me?
All right. So I wanted to pose two questions to you guys. And the first one is, so what are some dynamics of an unhealthy relationship? Like, how do you know you're in a unhealthy relationship from the men on the men's panel, from you guys' perspective? How do you know you're, excuse me, in an unhealthy relationship?
Got a person you want to go first?
Okay, you can go first.
Well, I guess one of the things, every conversation that you have turns into an argument. That is that is a red flag. That sign is unhealthy. Another one is how they treat others, how they interact with others, and is it always like constantly being done in a disrespectful manner? You know, every interaction with not only you but with other people as well. To me, is a example of an unhealthy relationship. If we can't have a cordial conversation where we can actually talk about something and actually address it and deal with it and move on past it, not that it's continuously thrown back in your face, you know, 2 or 3 weeks later or down the road, if we have another disagreement, all of a sudden the argument we had 6 months ago is being brought up again. That's not healthy, because it's obvious somebody doesn't know how to handle and move forward in the situation. So to me, that's an example.
That's interesting. You make some good points, but it's not always that cut and dry. For example, um, if in fact I was just listening to um, the pastor yesterday, Pastor Darius Daniels, and he had this is a lot, and he was speaking about something. He said, and when you have the conversation, he said you give the scenario, the setting, so to speak. He said you identify the behavior, and then you discuss the impact of that behavior on your relationship. And then if there are no adjustments made, and that's the point that I was going to say to that. If it keeps coming up and they're throwing something in your face, quote unquote, which is commonly used, were there any adjustments made? If there wasn't, then they're not throwing something in your face, possibly. Perhaps you're doing it again, doing the same thing that was discussed, the same behavior that is impacting the relationship, and nothing has been adjusted on the person who they're speaking to, whether it be the guy or the girl. And so then that becomes, when you see it or you identify it again, the toxicity or the root of the issue, and it rears its ugly head, and that's why sometimes it's brought up. But so in addition to that, because those are some good points that you mentioned, Hank. I would say that part of the toxicity is not being able to maturely communicate, identifying when in fact your emotions are out of control and being able to control them, because part of it is allowing your emotions to control you instead of you controlling your emotions, and that comes with emotional maturity. And I'm not speaking about gender in this case, I'm speaking about either, because we have a tendency, I know I have a tendency to sometimes get I call it passion, but I sometimes get in my emotions, and frustration is an emotion. And if I'm frustrated about something, which I find myself at times in conversations when we're trying to grow, then I now have lost my emotional decorum. I like that word, so I'm using it a lot today. And I need to check myself. And sometimes if they bring that to my attention, I know I was having a conversation earlier today, and it did go escalate to places. And what I realized is that when we escalate to those places, we kind of ignite each other's emotions and trigger each other's emotions. And when we're talking like I'm speaking now, and we're talking with where that is controlled, or when I'm talking when that is controlled, usually our conversations are a lot better off. But when I get frustrated and I escalate in volume, or I escalate in tone, or I change my tone, it sometimes is matched from and no matter who I'm speaking to, and it goes into a toxic place.
So, Sean, you said it's not cut and dry. Oh, it's cut and dry. It's not cut and dry for those who don't want to really address or want to continue with the individual they're dealing with, because there's something else, maybe physically, that attracts you to them, other than what's going on between their ears. So it is cut and dry. Only thing you do go to a restaurant and intentionally, let me give you a hint, fellas, intentionally mess up your order and see how that woman reacts to it, or intentionally mess up her order and see how that woman reacts to it. Does she act in a calm and collective, respectful manner? Or does she get off the hinges? Does she lose her cool? Just do that.
Kenny?
Trying to pick the right ones. Like Sean was on Sean jumped on the live that I had with this unruly female that tried to accuse me of something and was more expletives rather than her holding to her point, which were all lies. I think a woman with a contentious spirit and a forked tongue is something that a lot of men deal with nowadays. A woman, like I expressed before, should be peaceful. She should be feminine, and she should be friendly. And a lot of females need to be promoted to women by these women that have those traits and tug their sisters up so that they can be in a better position in our community to fetch and keep a man. I can't stand a woman that tries to buck up with me and tries to say I'm more masculine than you, tries to raise the tone where it can become aggressive past words. Because newsflash, before, now, and even in the future, women aren't built to push men to those levels and deal with the repercussions that come from it. It takes those men to refrain from such. That's another thing, that masculine thing. Only the strong can show compassion for the weak. A third thing. Small subsect. I'm not talking about all. Stop beating up our men. A hello should not be a dirty word. Learn to uplift. I see in this life, from my eyes view, a lot of women, they're subsect. They prefer to bully you than lift you up. They look for your downfall or to drag you into misery. And we need to get that out. As men, we need to band together and also say that's enough. I digress.
Stop hitting on the men. Jeez. All right. Who haven't gone on this yet? All right, Payne?
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. Listen, as a married man, and maybe I'm biased, I don't believe in relationships the way we have them in the modern era. I don't think there's any plan for the future. So if there's no plan for the future, why grow? We're just dealing with each other. We're banging each other. We're doing these things. Maybe we might even like each other. But what's the emphasis to really grow and expand? Right? What's the man? And the only reason why I say that is because the very first time I took out my wife, and it has nothing to do with the time frame we were in, I had my fill of girlfriends. So I asked her, I said, listen, I don't want another girlfriend. I don't want another girlfriend. So what are we doing here? Are we going to build something? Are we going to? And she was down with it. I didn't propose to her, but I said, are we going to build something? So unless you're building to some kind of higher plane, what is the emphasis to grow? And that's what my man was talking about. Both men and women. It has nothing to do with just a woman or a man. If we're just kicking it around, we like each other for the moment, but there's no plan for us to actually be together for a lifetime, why should I grow for you? Why should I do anything for you other than just give you my body and, have a good time and go out? Everything, we're just playing games, right? So that's why I think all this horse shit about relationships in the modern era now, the way people treat each other and all the social media and all, I think they're a waste of time. I mean, you might like somebody, that's fine. A man or a woman, you might like somebody, but don't fake yourself out. If there's no future, you're just biding time.
I completely agree. Up and down, up and down. I completely agree. All right. King, did you go on this one?
What's the question?
The question is, what are some dynamics of a negative, of an unhealthy relationship? Excuse me.
Uh,
Like, how
my
do you
biggest
know you're in
thing,
an unhealthy relationship?
the biggest thing that I've observed is both parties not being willing to listen. And I think Hink and even Kenny touched on it a bit. It's just it goes as simple as not able to communicate effectively to the other person, or them simply just not trying. The example that you showed, whether it was a skit or not, of that mom coming and just the way that she was talking, she wasn't there to listen to nobody. You know what I'm saying? And that man also, I don't think he could have gotten his new wife or whoever she wasn't really listening to him, get that point either. So I look at that as an example of a healthy relationship, and that's one of my top markers for an unhealthy relationship. And you can easily see it now, or I've gotten to a point where I think I can easily see a relationship and observe the way that they communicate with someone and go, that shit ain't healthy.
All right, all right. I don't know if did Sean go on this one? I feel like he did. I feel like he did. All right. So my follow-up question, because the dynamics of an unhealthy relationship, or how do you know you're in an unhealthy relationship? I believe someone said, when you're arguing all the time, right? You're always rehashing the past. You can't move on. You can't move towards the future. But I really like what Arpine said, as far as, what is the goal here? Do we have a purpose? Because if not, as long as we splitting the rent, I guess we both happy. At this point, I ain't got to pay 100%. You ain't got to pay 100%. So like the guy said in the video, if you're going to blame the other person, or if there is no reason for growth, why would you grow? Why would you get out of your comfort zone and, try to grow? But my question is, how does the convenience of toxicity hinder relationships? And the convenience of toxicity, meaning, like what Arping said, we're not growing, we're not going anywhere. We don't really have a goal. There's no emphasis on the relationship. How does the convenience of toxicity hinder relationships?
The convenience that you're referring to, let me give you one example, would be when people are comforted in, for example, somebody who's been hurt in a relationship, they might they might mess with a married woman or man because they don't have to take on the responsibility of ever taking them as a bride or a husband. And that is comfortable for them because they can kind of, as one person used to say, when that person gets on their nerves, let's say it's a woman and her man who she's dealing with is married, and her man is at her house and gets on her nerves. Her man helps her out with the house and all of that, but she can say to him, "Go home, go back with your wife," because uh, it's a convenient um, um, scenario, and she don't. It's kind of like a safety net sometimes as well. When you get into a relationship and somebody else is not ready, it's a safety net to where if y'all walking a tightrope over to the intention of being married, you're walking with a safety net, something that you can bail out of real quickly, and that also is one of the convenience, easily bailing out. That's the one of the convenience that us single people sometimes use to our advantage, and it can destroy the hopes of a relationship. It can destroy the ability for that relationship to grow. It can destroy the confidence and the foundation of that relationship as well.
Easy to bail out. Hey, Sean, thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody else want to weigh in on this one? How does the convenience of toxicity hinder relationships? No.
If it's solid, why do you want toxicity? That's cancerous. There's nothing good outcome wise that you could have. long term, short term, with anyone that puts that venom in anything that you're trying to do as for aspirationally building a relationship that works. Kick rocks.
Somebody in the comment section asked a good question, but I don't have an answer because
say it. Which one?
I've never stated that. But the question was, if toxic is all you know, then how do you develop the tools to know and understand what a healthy relationship is? And I don't have an answer for that.
Well, that's a good one. You know what? But that's a easy. You know, one of the things that makes us grow is if we have a frame of reference to bounce what's good relationship against a toxic one. And that's a good question because a lot of people don't have that frame of reference. However, that's still not an exact excuse because if your mind, your body, and soul is hurting because of the relationship you're in, we have the ability to intuit that what's toxic and what's not based on how we receive what's going on out there. Now, we might not know what it is, but if you're always, in a stressful situation with a person, whether you call it toxic or not, you know it's not good for you.
Right.
Even if you haven't seen what is good for you, you kind of feel what's not good for you. It's like that pornography. I know it when I see it. That kind of thing. So, I mean, we're special beings as humans. We know dangerous situations and we decide, you know what, maybe I won't walk down that alley tonight. I mean, we feel those things. If you're, yeah, maybe I don't want to get too deep. Anyway, so we know when we're in a situation that's not good for us, but just because we don't know what's better for us doesn't mean that we have to continue down that path. And that's why some people are able to bring themselves up the ashes because even though in the absence of good shit, they just start to reject the bad shit until they start to see what's good out there. And it happens. Not all the time because the environment plays a factor, but it's there. It's there. Because as far as my life is concerned, I'm thinking nobody told me a lot of shit to do in my life. I'm not special, but somehow I call it divine intervention. And some of us, if we're connected, we kind of know what's good for us and bad. I came up in the gang era, came up in the graffiti era. All my boys were riding on trains. They would go out at night onto the subways, crossing the third rail to write shit on the. I said, that's just stupid. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So I don't know what stopped me from doing it, but I just thought that was just dumb.
Right. And life will teach you too. You if you don't have the tools or if toxic is all you know, then life will deal with you real soon, real quick. Because being toxic, you're putting yourself in a loop of chaos and confusion, and you're not necessarily going forward. You're continuing, on the repeat wheel with toxicity. So if that's all you've been presented with, and that's all you know, then that's when you have to reevaluate, where you grew up, your surroundings, who you grew up around, who was in your house, who wasn't in your house. And like Arpine said, when something isn't right, when the crowd is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and blaming it on having parents that weren't there, or whatever the case may be. At some point in life, you do have to pivot. You do have to say, okay, I am no longer a child. I'm gonna put them childish things behind me. And a lot of people don't put the childish things behind them, and they carried it into their, adulthood, still blaming, parents, or still blaming the way that they grew up, and and things of that nature, not realizing that, your destiny is in your hands. There's nobody to blame but you.
So I know one of the things. I mean, for every relationship you ever had was toxic. That's not good. So, and we got to look beyond just sexual relationships. I mean, what about relationships with friends and your loved ones? Was all of that toxic too? That didn't give you an example on not everything should be toxic in your life, and how you have good cordial relationships with your friends, your classmates, with your coworkers, and notice that okay, you can have actual people who are not like this. Maybe you need to diversify your friends. Maybe you need to diversify who you deal with. Like Real Rich said, you need to find a different a level of people. Go outside your neighborhood and befriend somebody that doesn't live in the same city as you. Maybe go a town over and find friends there. If you want to find something other than that toxic people that you raise up around and that's all you see all the time. Yeah, you need to do something different. Maybe even to pack up and move. Don't just commute. Move. Get up out of there. If that's what you need to do to surround yourself with different type people who are thinking differently, moving differently, and acting and communicating differently. Do that.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I'm glad you made the reference that it isn't just a romantic relationship that can be have toxicity, and environment can cause toxicity, and toxic is so broad that we need to really give some more context to it because you have so many layers of toxicity, and so in saying that, what you just said, for example, you don't always know. For example, when I came to California, I might have shared this story with you guys before. Um, I didn't realize I was toxic. I didn't realize somebody. I went to visit my father and my brother, and we was walking down Hollywood Boulevard. Somebody said hi to me, and I threw up my hands, and I'm like, "Yo, what? You want to fight?" I didn't realize that that was abnormal. I didn't realize that that was something that uh, was a issue or concern. My brother saw it clearly. He was like, "Oh my gosh, you ain't going back." I didn't realize that I was growing into that because I wasn't a bad kid in New York, but the New York mentality was starting to rub off, and I was starting to grow into that. And so I didn't know I was toxic. I didn't know that it was something weird when somebody said "What's up," that they didn't mean "What's up" and was taunting or trying to get with me. That they was just saying hello. So I share that to say that there's a lot of times because of our environments or what we are exposed to, we don't even realize that it's toxic. And to Hank's point, if I didn't leave that environment and see another I guess scenario that was different, I wouldn't have ever known. I probably would have known when I was either dead or going to jail, but I wouldn't have known otherwise because it was just so normal in the environment that I was in.
I can definitely understand that because I'm from North Jersey, so I can't imagine if I would have stayed in North Jersey. I mean, I still feel like I have North Jersey in me, but moving to South Jersey was a whole different environment. It was a different pace of things. The city life, everything's fast, everything's on the go. There are a lot of people in your surroundings because you are in the city life, so you see people everywhere and you get used to being around a whole bunch of people, and so you take in a lot of culture. But then you move or I moved and the suburbs, and it was just like, where everybody at? Why nobody outside? Why nobody enjoying life? Not realizing that the people that were enjoying life in Jersey City probably were enjoying the highest quality of life. Let's just put it like that. Okay. So environment does have a lot to do with it. And as much as we don't, necessarily want to give credence to that, it definitely does. And so you definitely have to be careful with, you know, judging a book by its cover, because you just never know where people come from, who they've been around, who's been influencing them. And so, the convenience of toxicity, going back to that, if you don't change your environment, if you don't take space, or if you don't have a certain proximity between you and that toxic environment or those toxic people, then you will not be able to have successful relationships, because it will be a never ending cycle of um, you doing yourself harm. And we have to get out of our own ways of doing our self harm and realizing that everybody don't mean us well, or there are people who are greedy or feel like they're entitled, and be able to just read the red flags of people a lot sooner than we are, because again, that word convenience means you're comfortable. That word convenience means you're not trying to break out of what it is you need to grow from. And so you get convenient. It's convenient, you get comfortable. And anything that is on its way to greatness definitely requires change, elevation. It requires you to be transformed in some type of way, and definitely not to be comfortable. That's for sure. Definitely, comfort is that does not are not friends with growth. That's just not how that works. So, did everybody answer this one? How does the convenience of toxicity hinder relationships? I think we all went on this one. All right. So, I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. It is 11:38. I do want to try to get out of here around 12. We'll say around like 12:10. But I wanted to go over this particular video. Tonight title is "What Are You Hearing?" And what we're going to do is actually listen to this video that I'm going to play, because it is a show on Showtime. I think they may flag the video if I play the video, but if I just play the audio, hopefully they won't. I did put together still images that will play as the actual video is playing as you hear it. Of course, seeing the facial expressions and things of that nature does help, but you'll be able to see their expressions as it's playing. But again, just listen, because I'm gonna play it in the mic and it's not gonna come through as a regular video like I normally do. Just trying to kind of beat the system here. We'll see if it works or not. I don't know. But I wanted to play this video because I saw it, and it does come from the show on Showtime called Couples Therapy, excuse me. And I saw this one clip, and I'm actually going to have to dive in and look at these episodes a little bit more. But I saw this particular one and I said, wow, like my heart really breaks for this guy, because he, a lot of men don't want to go to therapy. That's not something that men are just like, yay, sign me up. It's like, all right, drag me there. I mean, you have some men that's like, all right, let's give it a chance. And then you have some men that's like, I'm only doing this because of you. Like, if this is what we got to do before we actually sign on a dotted line and file them papers, then hey, this is what I'm gonna do. But this man actually did go to therapy. He was vulnerable, and his wife was not having it, and you could definitely tell in her body language, the way she sounded, her tones. I felt as though her words just cut like a knife, especially if you have a trying man. You always want to give the trying man the benefit of the doubt, because a trying man don't have to be a man that's trying at all. He could just walk out on you. But this man is trying. But I do want you guys to listen. It does start off with the wife talking, and then you'll get the gist of the therapist's voice and then the husband's voice. But I do want to play this, and I just want to know from you guys, what are you hearing? Okay.
More important to me than all these.
Rewind it.
Love it. He says, you know what? You're more important to me than all these other people. Mm-hmm. Is there a way that you can communicate to her that she is important, that she's actually the most important?
I feel like anytime I tell her how I feel about her, she just
says, no, you don't. That's not how you feel. Or so part of you feels defeated. Yeah. I try to reassure her with words. She either calls it bullshit or says, no, you don't. You know, I try to show her with small actions and things, and she says that's not enough, or that's not good enough, or this is what causes me probably the most stress and anxiety in this relationship is just trying to always figure out how to make her happy and always failing at that. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like I've racked my brain endlessly and I've lost countless hours of sleep over it and just trying to think of things to do and always coming up short. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing? Honestly, just a whole lot of whining. Yeah. That's why I hear a lot too. Yeah.
So, what did you guys hear? Because the therapist asked the wife what she heard. The husband, you know, as best as he could through all of his emotions, was able to, you know, answer the question of, hey, look, these are the things that I'm doing when she asked me, what can I do better? And these are the things, and she says they're not good enough. So what are you guys hearing from that interaction?
He should divorce her. See, the only reason why he's still there is because he's looking at the economic analysis of it. And he should, you know, because, you know, we when we did our panel on sexless marriage, you know, there's a point where if the other party's not willing to even converse with you or acknowledge that you have an issue, there's nothing you could do. It's over. She doesn't even want to acknowledge that he has a problem. So he's going to be pounding his head against the wall. And that's one of the things that men do and we don't get enough credit for. We'll try to save shit that doesn't need to be saved only because, you know, of the financial implications of us leaving. And that's true. I mean, you know, it might not be true in every case, but I think in the back of most men's minds when they're married, they know that if they leave the woman, the courts are going to be in her favor. And they're a little older, so he might not have the kids to worry about, but he has a lot of assets, probably. And if she's not the breadwinner, she's gonna rake him over the coals. She hates him. She doesn't even like this dude. So in the court, she's going to destroy him. So he's making an economic. Do I want to be happy or have a satisfying life with this scrag, or do I want to start over at 60? That's his choice. That's his choice. I'm serious. You know, so that's the calculus that he's doing. I'll land it there.
I know you guys couldn't see the video, but you could just tell, like he said, I endless nights of sleep. I'm losing sleep, trying to rack my brain over how to try to make her happy, which you can't make another person happy. You can add happiness, you know, but you can't make them happy. It's just not going to work. If they're not happy deep down inside, if they're not making that decision to wake up every day on the right side of the bed, optimistic about the day, there's nothing that you can do. And I agree with our pain. She has made up in her mind that she wants to be stuck there. She doesn't want to address the issue because addressing the issue knows that she's going to have to unpack some things of her own. And if she stays there, and if she stays with the, well, I just want to hear you say, you know, I'm the most important thing to you, or I'm the most important person to you. I mean, that's so narcissistic. Men have so many people to, you know, to watch. Oh, you know, they have so many things and people, places and things to watch over. And I'm not trying to say that your wife is not important, but she not even the most important. I mean, honestly, if you believe in God, God should be the most important because he is a jealous guy. He don't want nobody before him. So even as I couldn't even form out of my mouth to say, if I was married, I want you to say, I'm the most important thing in your life. I wouldn't. I would feel very arrogant saying that. I would feel very, very arrogant. Should I be up there in priority and importance? Yes, but the most important, because if you make me the most important, if something was to happen or I fall beneath the perfect line or whatever, then what? So I don't know. I think that was a little weird for her to want to demand that from him. Tell me I'm the most important, I'm more important than those other people. I'm not quite sure who those other people are, but um I don't know. I found that weird for her to say to him. But actual King Smith, what were you hearing when you listened to it?
Oh, I heard a lady that has no more love nor respect for that man that she's in a relationship with. Like, my two immediate thoughts and questions were, why is she with him if that's the case? All right. And then I can likely agree with our pain in that he's doing the calculated risk of, if I try to if I walk away from this, I am going to feel this pain. There's a term that I heard. I don't know how old he was, but in the still image, he looked older. And there's a term that I heard called a gray area divorce or something like that, where typically a guy that's older, if they get divorced, it's harder to recover. It's easier to recover if you get a divorce under, like, I want to say it's 40, but if you get a divorce over 40, apparently it's just that much harder to recover from. So I hear a guy that also sounded like he still had love for her, and if she wanted it to work, I think that relationship could work, but she's checked out. That shit's done.
I don't know. I think he sounds tired to me. He sounds like he's defeated, like the therapist said,
Bro,
like defeated.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. While defeated, he still took the time to address it in what sounded like a very honest manner. He was honest in addressing it. I think somebody that's also checked out too, they they would dodge it themselves.
yeah, I mean, you can't give it to him. At least he tried to, usually when someone is trying to work on something, you should at the least acknowledge them working on it. So, you both can have something to look back on and say, "Hey, look, remember when we was here and now look at you. You don't even do that anymore, or you've improved in that area." Or whatever the case may be. But he definitely is trying, and she just like it just sounds like a whole bunch of whining. How does him explaining him the therapist said, "Hey, can you explain what you supporting her looks like?" He explains it, and she tells him that he's whining because what he's doing is not getting through to her. How is that whining? He's literally just explaining how this whole thing is going.
Gaslighting. It's a loser. She don't love him no more.
I wouldn't call
He ever did.
I wouldn't call her a loser. I would call her someone that is fed up with a situation.
Not her. I'm saying he's a loser. He's
Why is he a
losing
loser?
because he got a woman don't love him no more, and he's stuck.
So
He's
that
gonna
makes him
lose
a
no matter
loser?
what. Yes. There ain't no way he gonna go. She's being belligerent because she knows she got him over a barrel, and she's roasting his ass on a slow flame. And no matter what move he goes, she's gonna benefit.
I agree with our pain.
You do?
I agree. That man, to feel as though you have no option and to be stuck is a loser mentality.
Brother
Well,
King.
I hear ya and I understand what you're saying, but I think is he the loser or is she the loser?
Listen.
No, she's gonna benefit. She's gonna be, she's old as
So
hell.
if we're
She's
talking about
regularly.
okay,
It'll be
if we're
a young
talking
man
about the
wants to
win,
use cheats as soon as she gets rid of him, will be some young stud, some
if
meth,
it's
meth eating guy busting those cheeks as soon as she leaves.
Pain,
He's not doing it already.
Pain. If we're talking about losing, as far as losing financially, which is a lot of
Yeah.
men's position, you're absolutely right. But I'm talking about losing in reference to if you have a good thing or not. He actually is losing a bad thing, if you ask me, because she is the issue. Yeah, she might win financially, but he will be rewarded if, in fact, he understands that it's not his
I
loss, it's
agree
her.
with you. Now,
Sean.
Sean, I agree with you, but when you're a certain age, your recovery time is gone. So if you're over 50, 60 years old and a chick, destroys your life, takes your money, and you're gonna have to try to rebuild at that age where you can barely do whatever you used to do, you're gonna die a horrible life.
I guess
You're
I
gonna
can't
die a
believe that
horrible
because I guess I can't believe or understand that because I'm creative, and I think the most valuable thing is being able to create,
life.
because that's more important than any money you have gained,
Without work,
and you can.
without work,
Uh,
without work, without the energy to do the work.
well, I mean, again, if you're creative, you understand how to get that work done.
I,
I mean, your point is valid. I think our positions is just different because I'm like, okay, I know I can always get more money. I know I can re-up.
Man, damn all that. A woman tried to destroy my peace. Sean, you said you grew up in the Jets. I'm throwing some Bolivian white in your car while you drive off. I'm gonna call police. I get rid of that problem real quick.
Wait, were you driving the car?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I'm like, is it a loss or is it a win? I'm like, yo, get rid of she gone. Now you have the liberty. F the money. The money ain't giving you peace of mind.
Bolivian white. That's all you need to know, Precious. Throw some of that in the car and call police.
Oh, it must be some drugs. Some
You
illegal.
get out of all that financial responsibility quick. Play with me. What Michelle Obama said, when they go low, remix, I go low too.
That's not what Michelle.
Olivia White.
I said
With her
remix.
backseat. Hey man, chick got it. She's smuggling some Bolivian white. She's
Exactly.
she's
You
on
saw
Route
Belly.
66.
You had to drop a dime. Listen, you said 50, 60.
Damn.
You heard
God
what you
damn.
said, RP.
Situation like that, man. Her in that situation, man. That's crazy. Man, look, if that shoe went on her foot, that man sit there and made a statement like that, sound like she just whining, man. They would have called that man misogynist. They would have ripped him a new asshole if he did the same thing what she did to him. You can't put a price tag on your happiness, man. Your mental, you cannot put a price tag on it. So if you have to take that financial loss to get away from that woman, you do what you got to do. Because let me tell you, she gonna send you to an early grave. If he stays with that crazy ass heifer, she gonna send him to an early grave, man. Dealing with a woman like that, where she's talking to him, just disrespectful. Hold on, pain.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, dog. I know you want it.
I'm sorry,
God
bro.
damn.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to.
You trying to treat me like you do your old lady or something, man? God damn.
Jesus
And I'm not
Christ.
even married to your ugly ass. Right on. I don't understand, man. That much disrespect, man. That's just there ain't no goddamn way. Look, let me say this: if that man filed for divorce, I wouldn't fault that man. I wouldn't fault him at all to do something like that. Because man, there's no way I could be with an unruly woman like that. I'm out. I'm out. Now I may not divorce her because I still love him, and hopefully we would try to work this thing out. But I wouldn't be staying in the same residence. Ain't enough rooms in our house for the way that woman's talking for me to get away from her. Ain't enough rooms. I'm out. I'm gonna go get me an apartment. And I say, on the way I'm coming back, you gotta take this therapy serious. And we gotta get this shit. You gotta stop this disrespectful tone, this disrespectful ways, and how you think and how you moving. We can't do that. Because let me tell you, an unhinged man will put hands on her ass and may not end the way she wanted to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you could tell he was so I think that a man should have a lamb inside of him and a lion inside of him. You know, a man should know when to be, you know, meek and mild and composed of himself and things like that. But then sometimes the lion got to come out. And there are times where the lion should come out where you're standing your ground. You are not moving off of your square. You're very assertive on certain things. You're confident. You know what you want. You know, that's part of those lion traits. He has more of the lamb than the lion. And some men have more of the lion than the lamb. So that's what he was talking about. You know, you get a man who got 100% lion with no percentage of the lamb inside of him, you know, she's a goner, or her property is gone, or their property is gone, or somebody is getting hurt. Someone's doing bodily harm to themselves because they really want to punch her in the face, but they done punch the wall. So, you know, to me, she just doesn't seem like she wants to move forward with this man. And she's fed up. I wouldn't be surprised if she had another man that she was talking to or venting to, or, you know, going to get some type of stress relief. So I definitely agree with that, Hank, because a lot of men aren't going to be able, aren't going to put up living in hell. You know what I mean? They're not going to put up living in that type of environment. We were talking earlier about, you know, what does a wife give a man now that he's a husband? And a lot of that does come with a peaceful environment. You know, my mom was a stay-at-home mom at a point in our lives. She worked, but she was a stay-at-home mom as well. But one thing that she did cultivate in our home was a peaceful environment for my dad. So when he came in from working for corporate America and, you know, dealing with people who are racist and things like that, she was able to cultivate an environment where he didn't have to come home and fight her. You know, he didn't have to come home and, you know, have unruly children and things like that. She was able to cultivate that type of peace in the home. And walking into their home got to be like walking into a walk-in cooler and somebody then took the emergency latch and you just stuck in there. I just couldn't imagine. And I can't imagine a man living in an environment like that.
Well, but the truth of the matter is, if we look at generations, the recent generations, a lot of men don't understand because they don't have the frame of reference of being able to stand up against the so-called black girl magic influence. And the only reason why I say that, even though those people weren't black, I'm saying most, especially since we're black, most men are trained and groomed to acquiesce to their women in our culture. And that's a mistake. That's a big mistake. And listen, I don't know how much alienation I have in my own family because I told them I'm not putting up with that shit, you know? And I have, you know, one of the things that here's the one thing I give women credit for. In the Payne family, one of the reasons why we're really close is because my grandmother and grandfather on that side had a lot of daughters. And daughters tend to keep the family together, right? And that's the environment I grew up in. But the point I'm saying, because I don't have anything, they trust me, they still love me, right? But I'm the rebel. I'm the OG rebel. And so when I talk, they listen to me even though they're mad. And so we go into these debates. So I'm just saying that most black men have been used to being told what to do by the women in their lives. And it's not always negative, it's not always bad. But we're not women, we're men. And so we don't think like women. We're not supposed to. And so it's going to take women some time to really realize that, you know what, if we want to reclaim our rightful position as the apex predator in the nation, in nature, that's just going to have some growing pains. It's as simple as that. Not that you're going to get hurt, but you know what? Hey, man, just shut up. And that when men decide that the box is not the most important thing to them, there's going to be hell to pay. Period. You know, I mean, just read Isaiah 4, chapter 1. It's telling you where we're headed. And so, and I'm not that big a religious guy, so I just throw out a Bible verse once in a while just to say that, I read it, But anyhow, so all I'm just trying to tell you guys, I'm a man advocate. And what's been going on for us with the last 50, 60 years is a goddamn travesty. And there's a lot of brothers on these panels who are not in the red pill rage, because I'm not, that says, you know what, we need to start to reclaim our rightful position as the head of the family and everything else if we want to save our society. Because the women ain't supposed to be there. Not that they can't do shit and they can't be intelligent and lead stuff. No, that's not the point. But we don't need the chaos in our so I sound like a misogynist, and thank God, because misandry is much worse. So I'll just land it there. And I like this panel. I'm glad you let me up. And I love women. I do. But you know what? God, man, women, and children. Period.
I hear that. I appreciate you for being here, Arpain. All right. Did everybody go on this? Kenny, did you go on this? And if anybody wants to call in, definitely call in. If not, we'll go to final thoughts. But pretty much, what were you hearing, during that exchange between the wife and the husband? What she was hearing was whining, but I mean, I heard a man expressing himself through to his wife.
That touched on part of the things that you were asking about the toxicity question that you posed. She sounded actually like she could care less if he was alive or dead. She made it seem like his voice had no place in her heart, her soul, or spirit anymore. And she was just ready to find anything to get away. I look at her as one of those ladies you see on like those murder shows for the insurance, that she's going out there and putting that little small bag on the head, finding a little young dude, give him a little taste of that, that seasoned coochie, and promise him, champagne and all the PlayStation games he wants. Just take old head out, and we live a good life together. She remind me of one of those type of ladies, because I actually seen the full video. A man that still wishes to pour out his heart. It looks weak, because we touched on that like weeks before. Men don't have any refuge where they can express themselves, and especially to the one person that they should be completely open with. You're actually seeing how she treats him. You should be able to come home and be unguarded and be fully transparent. I would say 99% with that person that's looking across from you, that's saying, I'm glad you're home. That one that's embracing you. That's nothing that I would even want in the bed next to me. That's why a lot of couches in America are dented. A lot of guys are in this situation. All pain touched it. The financial investment is far too grave for said individuals to leave and being ruined living in the shelter. So guess what? They'll suffer in silence. Or whine in silence, as she would say. I digress right there.
That's why I have to find this show, because after she said after the therapist asked her what she was hearing, and she said, well, honestly, it sounds like a whole bunch of whining. And then it cut off after that. But I want to know if the therapist even, held her accountable for that. Because if you're in a session where you're, opening it up and, the guy is being vulnerable, how is it that the receiving party of that information is like a stone cold wall? It's almost like this man ran and literally ran into a brick wall. That she is not exhibiting what women should exhibit, and that is, we are receivers. And she was not trying to receive that man on any level whatsoever. Now, I wanted to ask you guys, their dynamic is, she looks like she is like Filipino, or Oriental. I don't know the correct, name. I think it's Oriental, right? She looks Oriental. And he clearly is a white man.
No, not Oriental. That's
Filipino.
Filipino is fine. Oriental is derogatory, apparently.
Oh God, forgive me. Okay.
Oriental is things. Asian is, they corrected it. Asian is
that's the right terminology.
The diaspora. If
got you, Asian. And he looks like he's a white man. Do you think because of that dynamic, I've definitely heard that Asian women are very like domineering or very aggressive. Have you guys heard that as well? Or no?
I've heard the opposite. I've heard a little bit more.
The opposite. I heard
Asian women are very aggressive.
We're not talking about when you go to the Chinese store to get your chicken wings and
no, I'm talking about the tiger mom syndrome. Yeah, they're not docile. Not what you think. Maybe the men are docile, but not the Asian.
Well, Asian and poly-Asian are two different things. Filipino is more poly-Asian. No, I'm just saying Filipino are more poly-Asian, and they might have those dominant characteristics at times. And Asian being like from Asia and being not from Asia, but like more on the Japanese, so on. They have different cultures that bring docile.
Okay.
The tiger mom was trademarked based on Asian women. They ain't docile. The men might be, and Asian women love white men. They love white men more than they love their own men.
You said
in America, they do. Just do some research, man.
Pain. You said tiger bomb. That's a
tiger bomb.
Make your yang hard.
Tiger bomb.
That's what tiger bomb is. I know what it is. Why would they be compared to that?
Listen, we're talking about Asian women. I mean, let's start. I saw this movie Species. The guy says, we wanted her to be a female because they're more docile. The guy was an asshole. Women ain't more docile than men as predators. So all I'm just trying to tell you that this whole notion that we got the little soft geisha girls walking around with the shoes and shit, that's TV. This all I'm just trying to say is Asian women ain't that meek like you guys think they are. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think we need to really from. Yeah, I really think we need to really we're sounding very racist. We really need to distinguish. Listen to what I'm saying.
Wormhole and shit. I'm telling you, they ain't that big.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why I'm saying this, you're specifically sounding that way because you're not distinguishing the different character, the different cultures. Because
Okay.
Japanese, for example, is where Gishi is where the woman that you was just describing come
Yeah,
from.
you're right. You're right.
Also.
You're absolutely right. I agree. Okay,
So,
so I'm wrong because I call them geishas, but no, they're not that meek either. So all I'm just trying to say, they got a point. All I'm just trying to say, you guys are trying to paint the Asian women as some kind of meek, mild kind of thing. Just give me my Chinese food and it's all over. That's bullshit.
That's not what I
all
said.
I'm saying, and I say it again, it sounded very crazy because I live in a place where there's a lot of different distinctions of Asian slash poly Asian, which is in California. So you have Japanese, Chinese,
Yeah, yeah,
Cantonese.
yeah.
You have
Yeah, I
Taiwan.
agree
You
with
have Filipino, and you have the Islanders, which is more like
you. Okay,
the Samoans,
that's what
etc.
I'm trying to say. They all want white men. They want
That
white
too
men
is not
to
true.
help. That's
Okay,
not.
so
That is exactly true.
All pain, OG, you can help me with this. When you start your diatribes like that, say in my opinion.
Well, everything I say is in my
Please.
opinion
Okay, there we go.
for the copyright gods. It's only my opinion, and I'm right.
Because I would
You know what?
challenge
But
you.
you're right, Penny. I agree with you. In my opinion.
Okay, so I would challenge that because I know in those households they're more meek and they're trained to know how to take care of a man. They're trained to not raise their voice, and this is stat proven. I could bring it around because I know we're on the same pages with King Talk. But on a whole, if you wanted to do the percentages, no, those are not, the majority
Can
of
I
them are not toxic women. They're
can I
very
say something to
docile.
you? Can I say? I
Of
never use the
course
word
you
toxic.
can.
Let me just say this to you, Kenny. The most powerful women are the meek ones. The most powerful women who understand men are the meek ones. They get everything they want by doing exactly what you said. That's what
King.
that's what black women don't understand. The power is not in being loud and boisterous and crazy. The power is using your femininity as the power that God gave you. And a lot of women don't understand that. And so what I'm saying, especially black women, it's unfortunate because if you want real power, use your femininity for good, and you change the goddamn world. You
Pain.
know, I'll
I
end it
would.
there. We can say what we want to say, but the Asian women know that femininity gets the men to do what they need them to do because they give the men, they stroke their egos and they don't blow it. And because it's a small price for them to pay for the men to give them what they want.
I think so. We can get the final thoughts real quick. I think we could split the block on this
Yeah,
at
of
another
course. I'm
time.
not, you know what? I'm just talking, man. That's how I see it. But you see it your way. You corrected me in my humble 65-year-old on the other side of the Rubicon opinion. I'm having, you know what? Yo, thank you, Precious. I'm having a good time up here. You know what? Everybody in the chat, everybody forgive me. I just have a good time on this chat.
Pain, is that sweatshirt you?
Yes, and my wife.
Dude,
Which
that's dope.
we got matching ones.
That's dope. Props.
Yeah. We went to a restaurant with both of these on. We got a free piece of cake. we got a free, for my 200 something dollar bill, we got a free piece of cake. You know, power to the people.
Oh my goodness. You gotta get grateful when the freebies come by.
My wife looked much better in hers than I do in mine. So what can I say?
No, we appreciate you, R Pain. I think you actually help this platform because we have people of all ages watching, but I think you represent very well for the baby boomers and those people who maybe are retired, or those people who are just watching this panel like, what's going on in this crazy world? Let me watch the Real Precious.
Hey, and again, 38 years of marriage is to be respected.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that straight up.
It'll be
Yes.
37 really in
37,
August.
yeah,
37. Yeah, so
37.
we're going.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, experience and that knowledge, and just you just being you. You definitely bring a certain life to this panel, so I appreciate you. So we're gonna move on to final thoughts. We're gonna start with Sean, move on over to Kenny, up to Arpane, and we'll end with my co-host, the actual King Smith. Final thoughts on anything that we spoke about.
Okay, my final thoughts is let there be love and care and consideration consistently. Is really something that I think will help our relationships. And that's that. My final thoughts.
All right, let's keep being short and sweet, Sean. Consideration. All right, so Kenny.
I think we need to tap back into the old R&B classic songs when the truth was spoken. I tap into Marvin Gaye, Only Love Can Conquer Hate. We've got to find a way. And we have these discussions. There will always be a new air that is introduced to this channel and the beautiful souls that on this panel. And hopefully that reverberates throughout the ethos and helps somebody out there. I digress.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Precious.
Thanks, Kenny. Go ahead, Arpane.
Listen, I have fun when I come up here, and I don't want to disrespect the platform. But there's a couple of things. We had a podcast about sexless marriages, and I had them in two categories: the sexual intimacy, but the most important category is general intimacy with your spouse. Do you touch each other? Do you kiss each other? Do you hold each other's hands? Do you say words of affirmation? Do you, because that's the consistent thing that just lasts through the ages. But the sexual energy as you get older, it's going to change. Your wife goes through changes, you go through changes, you go all through those things. But do you actually always touch each other? Me and my wife, we have trouble. Like when they say don't go to sleep angry, right? You heard that before, right? Me and my wife, we try never to go to sleep without touching each other at least once, kissing, holding, and hugging. And I told some people on the panel, it's my last joke. She's got permanent handprints on her ass because I always grab. I tell her, I says, listen, you know what? If I ever grab your butt in public, it's only because it's a reflex action and it's so prominent. You know what I'm saying? I tell her this. So that's one of those kind of things that transcends your sexual energy for your wife. Even if you're not doing it all the time, it's your intimacy, your general intimacy with your spouse, your loved one, men or women. If you maintain that, there's always a path forward back to a healthy relationship. And that's all I'm saying. So these panels help me reflect because I wasn't that smart when I was younger, but I give myself credit for making the right choices. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what I was doing. And so, but these panels make me reflect. And let me tell you, I must end it here. All you people who want to be married or anything else, there's nothing wrong with reflection. Reflect. What were you thinking back in those days? And if you did some right choices, give yourself some credit and give God the glory for it. Because I know my life is 100% based on divine intervention. Because I tried everything to mess it up. I'll land it there.
Thank you, Arpane. Passport bro villain said TMI, Mr. Payne. And it's funny listening to you talk. It reminds me of Tamala Mann and her husband. I forget his name. Tamala and I forget his name, but he said that she's the same way. Like she has a permanent handprint on her behind from him always touching her. He said he can't walk past her. He can't. And if he do and he don't touch her, she looking at him like, why didn't you touch my butt? Like, because that's something that he always does. I believe that, when you're talking about touching and intimacy and things like that, I believe it's statistically proven that you should touch at least 7 times. You should have at least 7 types of touches, whether it's a hug, whether it's a kiss, whether it's a peck, whether it's sex, no matter, like, you should do it at least 7 times, because it does something for the man and the woman and just for the overall relationship. You want something that's going to draw you back to one another. And, for some people, it could just be, touching could be the start of that. So thank you, Arpain. I appreciate you. I
I need
appreciate
to tell you, I won't be around Monday because it can't. Me and the wife are going to be going for the whole weekend. This weekend coming up, Friday to whatever.
Mhm.
And we're going to be touching. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be touching. So I'll be back on Tuesday for everybody. I'm off the YouTube streets. We're going to shut it down. I'm not going to be online at all.
Well, we're going to miss you. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Don't worry about us. We'll be okay. You young kids have fun. Okay? All right. King, your final words, sir. Final thoughts at this point.
All right. I'm going to try not to jack this up, Kenny, but the final thoughts. Wait, did I just say Kenny? My bad. The word kerfluffle stood out. And the way I thought about it was like this. Over the age of 30, I started to realize that I cherished and valued a healthy relationship and tried my best to steer clear of any unnecessary kerfluffles, period. Right. And what I would advise people is to not allow small minor things to happen and you not address it right then and there because you don't either A, feel like you have the energy for it, or B, you're somebody that was conflict avoidant. I'm gonna raise my hand and say I was a conflict avoidant guy because I'm like, I don't want to deal with this right now. That was the wrong move. If you have a kerfluffle, deal with that shit immediately by doing what you feel like is best to handle that in your household. And I say strive to just ensure that your communication is clear and that you can have an understanding with whoever you're in a relationship with. I hope I use kerfluffle right. Kenneth, let me know. Yes. All right. That's all I have.
Thank you, the actual King Smith. I appreciate you for rocking out with me, rocking out with us, dedicating your time. All you guys dedicating your time. Thank you. If you haven't, definitely hit that like button, share this live, subscribe to the channel so you guys know when we go live and when we drop different videos. I believe I'll be live this Wednesday with Lady Di. So check in.
One more thing. To Kenneth, I'm sorry. Precious called you Kenny earlier. I don't know if you said Kenny, but if Kenneth, my bad, bro. I want to make sure that I say that. It does say
Kenny is fine.
Okay. All right, man. Cool, man. I just want to be sure.
What did I call you? Oh, you Kenny, Kenneth?
Yeah, I'll
it's weird saying it. That's my dad's name, so it's weird to say the name because I call him Dad. So to say Kenneth is like, ooh.
All right, Precious. Sorry.
It's okay.
I want to make sure that I said that.
But I appreciate you guys for being here this evening. My final words would be a little bit similar to, I think, either actual King Smith said it or Arpain, but men definitely stand your ground. Stand your ground. We had 2 situations in the videos that we saw. We had a man who had a baby with a woman and then, moved on from that relationship and got with another woman. And I believe that situation could have gone a lot smoother if he was able to stand his ground, maybe set some, guidelines, perimeters, certain boundaries. And the second situation with the married couple where, the husband is trying to, in every instance, make his wife happy, yet she looked like she the one running a relationship and he the one that's just being dragged through the mud. when it's really the other, the other way around. She is overpowering that relationship, and it doesn't seem like it, like the therapist says, it does seem like he's defeated. And so I like these panels on Mondays because the men give their perspective in certain situations. And the overall perspective that I have been hearing this evening is for men to stand their ground. And so that I'm going to close with that final thought as well, because the sooner you stand your ground, the sooner women will realize that they can't play with you. They'll realize they're going to be out here in these streets lonely and cold because they want to play. And, some people get stuck in that convenient toxic cycle because they don't want to grow. They don't want to move outside of that. And, if you're going to be with someone, like our pain was saying, if you're going to be with someone, what is the purpose? What is the goal? Because if there is no purpose, if there is no goal, you're wasting time and you'll get comfortable in those toxic cycles. You'll be one of those people that's like, how did I get here? It's been 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years. Why am I still here? And it's because you really didn't have a foundation, a goal, a purpose to begin with. And so you done got comfortable. And look at you now. You're in a situation where you wish you could get out of. Well, guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate the chat. They were very active. We had one caller today. Definitely join us. Like I said, me and Lady Di, I believe we're going to be live this Wednesday. Definitely check our boards on YouTube or even our Instagram posts and stories. We definitely post in there if we're going to be going live or if we're going to cancel it. So I'll definitely let you guys know. Tomorrow I'm supposed to be on Illa's panel, Illosophical. So check me out on his channel tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. But other than that, I appreciate you guys. You know what I say, keep it real with yourself so you can keep it real with others. Happy Monday, but most importantly, happy Tuesday. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks. Have a good one.